Oh, and there's Francisco.
Right on time.
Somewhat right on time. I'm a minute late. Ah.
Oh, you're fine. Jacob just got here.
Hi, Jacob. Hi, Drew.
How's it going?
As apparently he eats.
Busy.
I understand. I have gone ahead and go on live so Paul can rate us.
Ah,
Just so y'all are aware, we are live.
nice. Oh no, whatever shall we do?
Do I need to move your camera down, Jacob?
I
think I do.
A little bit.
You did great, my love.
So what are you eating, Francisco?
These great value peanut butter chocolate wafers just for my dessert.
Oh, okay. Nice.
What'd you have for dinner?
We had
Raid.
Nice. Very nice.
You're asking about dinner last
Sorry, what did you have?
night. I had leftover Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, okay. I had so we are me and my lovely wife are dog sitting for a friend of ours.
So you ate the dog.
No, it was a hot dog.
Oh.
No, it wasn't.
And
a
if
hot
she
dog.
heard me say that, I'd be dead before she got home.
She would. He would. And most definitely, no, we had a like Burger King because we just want to do something really quick. Because Fridays are always just busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to bring that stuff up.
Exactly, for the steaks. Exactly, Paul. PaulJPowers.com.
Yeah, I'm sure that would also go over really well.
Right.
Oh, totally.
Okay. Just double checking, Francisco. Can you hear this?
I can. Can you hear this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, our volumes sound good, so we should be
Cool.
good to go.
Okay.
They sound good. Oh my gosh.
So I'd never seen Poco Rosso before, but I'm excited to talk about it.
Porco Rosso,
Yeah. What'd I say?
a movie about a flying pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're covering tonight, right? And also Batman Beyond.
You do a fairly decent PaulJPowers.com impression.
I was like, oh, please say he's joking. Please
I'm
say he's
joking.
I
I'm
know.
joking.
I know.
Yeah, so you requested this specifically.
It's true.
It's like, yes, Porco
Porco Rosso.
Porco Rosso. Sorry, it's a tongue twister.
It
It's
is.
an excellent movie.
It is
I still
very-
have yet to see that, but
You
I
really
have
ought to
it.
watch, you
I
really
just
ought to
didn't
watch it. I wouldn't call it one of Miyazaki's best, but it's a good
Mhm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Ashley, I know, and you love the movie so much, right? Oh my gosh, Paul.
That's what I don't have up yet, because I'm going to need that pretty quick. I need to actually get my notes up.
Yes.
Notes are good.
Yes.
Okay, and you were not able to do the Lower Decks episode, correct?
No, I wasn't. Sorry about
That's
that.
fine.
guys.
It's all good.
It'll all be good.
I can pretend.
You can pretend.
I mean, this would have been the perfect one for you because it was all about cryptocurrency. And why
Sweet.
it's better than solid regular currency.
Well, it is. I mean, the gold standards at the top, then big crypto,
Well, I mean, they were
Specifically
throwing
Bitcoin.
away gold and jewels also, so maybe
then
not.
fiat currency. Or is it? It is.
Yeah. Or how
All right.
bad capitalism is.
It's anti-capitalist.
Yeah, it's very
I will have
What?
opinion when we get
Anti-capitalist. You're glad I didn't see this.
I trust me, I have opinions because I don't think the people who wrote the episode understand how Star Trek works.
No.
Yeah, there's
In a
no
weird
money in
way.
Star Trek, so I'm
No
confused.
physical money.
No.
I would say there is digital currency that is based on non-replicatable materials, and it is a post-scarcity society. I will grant that, but it's not that they don't get paid. There is money. If nothing, they're gold press platinum.
I mean, so I'm a Star Trek.
I do think there's a Federation. There is mention of Federation credits in the episodes.
Look, I
And
know my
people
Star
having to pay
Wars,
for
okay? And I don't think that
saying.
Gandalf used currency.
Gandalf, yeah. As he was fighting off the Daleks.
Exactly. See, you know. I don't know when we got rid of the gold.
That were sent by Lord Voldemort.
Exactly. Yes, out of the mouth of Jaws.
Out of the mouth of Jaws.
Why not?
Don't you mean
I was
Bruce?
trying to change it up, okay?
Yeah,
No.
He was Jaws of Bruce.
I assumed he was talking about the villain from James
That's
Bond.
the shark's name. Bruce.
No, I was talking about Jaws the shark. Yes,
Oh.
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
Bruce. Okay, fair. My apologies. I thought we'd gone on a James Bond turn. My apologies.
Dun, 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 dun.
I think what you're doing is Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Hold on, let me get my laser watch out. That's from GoldenEye.
Yeah, very GoldenEye. Oh my gosh, I love GoldenEye.
Y'all ready to get started?
Maybe.
I like Bitcoin Eye, but okay.
Anyway, why don't we go ahead and get started?
Okay.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, he just likes going on drives in the mountains. Welcome, Jacob.
Well, they are relaxing. Very, very relaxing.
Are they?
Yes. Have you ever driven in the mountains?
Actually, yes.
Okay. Good.
But at 70 miles an hour, it can be a little bit harrowing also.
Yeah. Herring.
Harrowing. Harrowing is actually the word I meant to use.
Okay, harrowing. Okay, much better.
It's like a boy and a heron or something.
Yeah,
that's
something like
next
that.
year.
Yeah, that's next year. Apparently, the movie about me. Apparently,
Yes, that's been the running joke. Since
it
they
has
announced
been
it.
for the longest time. Why?
No.
Thank you.
Princess Mononoke had the one with the wolves, so I don't think that was yours.
I'm so glad my wife is not listening right now.
How do you know she's not listening?
You never know. What's the chat? Well, anyways, thank you. But let me introduce our co-host, a man who has just been waiting in the wings for this podcast to get started. Welcome, Drew.
And while that was happening, I just kept hearing this one bird call this whole time.
See what curses you have wrought, pauljpowers.com.
Anybody gets the reference I just used, 10 points to you. Because we already
Also joining us tonight is a man who thought we were watching How Pigs Fly. Welcome, Roy, Francisco, whatever your name is.
Roy.
That's right. It's not Roy. It's Francisco, a.k.a. FX Retro, a.k.a. the captain of the Retro Rewind Pod.
So he's from California?
While on the pod, you may command. On the cast, it is us. That is
And
not a good
I'm joined by
exchange of
someone.
that.
I'm joined by someone that needs no introduction. Calculus. Hi guys, how you doing?
Oh, good
What
night.
movie are we covering tonight?
Oh,
Hi, Calculus.
Hi,
I was not
Calculus.
expecting you tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm always here.
that's frightening.
Frightening? They're frightened of me, Francisco. I know, Calculus, they are. I guess you better go away. But I was going to rise like the wind. Sorry, you're going to go back to the dungeon. Oh, bye.
Well, we're already off to a roaring start this evening.
You started with the Arquan bird, okay?
Oh, please. I've been sitting on that since Tuesday. So, yeah, tonight we are reviewing the film The Wind Rises, the second to last Hayao Miyazaki film.
Yes.
I have opinions about it. We'll get to it in a minute. But why don't we just go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free thoughts on this film?
Mm-hmm.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
This is my first viewing of this particular film. I did not realize it was going to be sort of biographical, kind of it's a semi-biographical film.
I would love to. So if Hayao Miyazaki ever does an anime of himself, then I think it would be autobiographical.
Yeah, I
Yes,
kind of
it'd be definitely
accidentally started on the wrong word there.
Womp, womp, womp.
Go Team Womp. Anyway. I think it's we of course watched. Me and Jacob watched the English dub of it.
I did as well.
Okay. It is it's done very well. The animation is good. I think the only thing that threw me off was the fact that all the sound effects were done by humans making them with their mouths.
Why are you trampling on my most disliked thing already? Jeez.
I'm just for saying it's one of the odder things that I want to warn people about before they just jump into this thing, because I certainly didn't know.
I thought this was spoiler free and fresh.
It is spoiler free.
No,
I'm just giving you a warning. Hey, there's a lot of sound effects in here that are made by humans with what my mom used to call mouth noises.
Yeah, that gives away the whole movie.
But yeah,
okay,
I will go ahead and tell you this movie is technically a biopic of Jiro Horikoshi, who was the airplane designer behind the Mitsubishi Zero from World War II. I did not know that's what this was about before I started.
I didn't either.
I saw the cover of this film and I thought, oh, it's gonna be a romance movie about a couple who likes to paint on hillsides. That's not what it's about at all.
Boy, were you wrong.
Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. So fun fact.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised planes were in it. This is Miyazaki. He loves them.
Yeah. So fun fact about the Mitsubishi Zero. The official title of the Mitsubishi Zero is Mitsubishi Model 00, and they just called it Zero, which is like probably the most devastating fighter plane there was in World War II, until they realized, oh yeah, you can just shoot full of holes and it's going to burn to the ground. But at the time, it was the most famous and infamous plane that Japanese ever made.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Were they at Pearl Harbor?
Yes, they were the planes at Pearl Harbor.
That's what I thought. So just giving everybody a bit of a clue that I didn't have before I started this. This movie does take place between World War I and World War II, which I didn't know. Like I said before I went into it, it's actually a pretty decent film. And I will admit, I was coming up on the end of it, I did get a little choked up, which surprised me considering at some point when I was watching it, I had to pause and go do something else. And while I was paused, I did do a little bit of light research when I realized this was about a real person. I have some opinions about what I learned, especially going into the end of it, but we'll get to that in a minute. There's a reason we called it sort of a biopic.
Yeah. It's a biopic with
a lot of fictional elements.
With a Miyazaki painting all over it.
I'll put it this way. It's like The Greatest Showman, except where The Greatest Showman took liberties, it made sense because that's how P.T. Barnum would have told his life story. That doesn't exactly work here for me, but we'll get to more of that later. Francisco, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I hate The Greatest Showman, especially that one song where she's singing about how I want more and more and more. I'm like, get out of here. I don't need that in my life. You should learn contentment, lady. Oh, The Wind Rises. Oh, yes! Of course, yes. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, the show must go on. Come on.
Oh my gosh. That's Moulin Rouge. Well,
no, it's Queen.
Okay, fine. Good point. Anyway, The Wind Rises. I wasn't expecting. It was my first time watching it. Didn't really know what to expect. I think like you, Drew, as me and my Ashley were watching, she was looking up that, oh yeah, this was actually based on someone, because it seemed like it had a tone like that. Like this seemed like a real person. But I certainly had some issues with, like you were saying, Drew, earlier, the the sound effects. This was a very slow burn of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll say if you want to get to the action right away, then of all the Miyazaki movies I've seen Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Ponyo, The Wind Rises now, and I think one more that's escaping me. Oh, My Neighbor Totoro.
Yes.
This is the slowest of all of those.
And that's saying something considering My Neighbor Totoro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totoro
But
is
that's,
a
a, but that's
slow
a
burn.
that's a different.
Yeah, that's more of a
It's a bird of
kids
a different
movie.
color altogether.
Exactly. Yeah. That's slow for a kids movie. This is
Yeah.
slow for anyone. So
There's strangely a lot that happens here in this movie.
Agreed.
yeah,
But it is very slow and
I was like-
getting somewhere.
when we had to pause it and it turned out to be the hour mark, I'm like, how are we only an hour in? So much has happened already. So it feels a lot. I don't know how to say if it feels longer than it is or it feels shorter than it is. But
I will say it feels longer than it is.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Primarily because of how much is in it, and
Yeah,
yet
it's a very dense story.
and how slow it seems the action takes place in it.
so that's my spoiler-free thoughts on it.
Ah.
I hate that everyone dies in the end too. Jeez.
Well, eventually.
Eventually. Everybody eventually dies, Francisco.
What?
We all know
Aw,
this.
man. Darn
Well, like,
fall.
I mean, like if Francisco was immortal, we'd have a problem.
Yes.
Well-
very much so.
Worldly immortal, that'd be a problem.
Yes. I'm going to be immortal the other side of eternity, but
Yes, thankfully.
Yes.
So my spoiler-free thoughts on The Wind Rises. I absolutely enjoy this movie. It has so much of like Miyazaki is painted broad brushes with this. Be like the understanding that be like, yes, he did take some liberties with the story, which like all writers do. You take liberties with this. And yes, it's not exactly correct.
Yeah.
Yes, his, this didn't actually happen. This didn't happen. But if we're talking about story-wise and creativity and imagination and story, it's a beautiful story. But if you deep dive into everything, you're going to get disappointed. But if you're taking everything on the surface of this movie, it is a wonderful, romantic story of a man who first fell in love with his desire to make an airplane, the perfect airplane, and then he fell in love with a woman, and then you have this beautiful romance that blossoms throughout the course of the movie, and then you get the result at the end. And again, I am a sucker for like over the top animation, just gorgeous, just luscious animation. This movie brings it in spades, and it's just chef's kiss kind of movie.
Absolutely. Yes.
But yeah, I like this. I love it. It's a great movie. So this is going to be a wonderful.
This is going to be
review.
very interesting.
yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm curious what you get.
Well, why don't we go ahead and get into the spoiler-filled section then?
Yeah.
Okay.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film The Wind Rises. Listener discretion is advised. The Wind Rises was written and directed and based on the manga by Hayao Miyazaki.
I've heard of him.
And he's done a ton of films. I probably don't even have to name which other ones he knows. He's done because, let's face it, with the exception of one, we've pretty much reviewed every other film he's made on this program.
And this was supposed to be the movie that he was supposed to retire from.
This was his second one he
Oh,
retired
shit.
from. He also
Never mind.
retired at the end of Ponyo, and I wouldn't be surprised if he retired at the end of Howl's Moving Castle too.
This
But
is my main
he-
most. I'm done.
And yet
No,
he,
wait a minute.
he
I'm
comes
not.
back for another, and he did it again with because this was his last one before he decided to come back with Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, you just can't keep a good artist down, or good at someone with a broad imagination. You can't keep them down. Anyways, continue.
Getting into the cast.
Cats.
Cast.
This little cats. What?
Cast.
Rough.
Kiki's
What?
delivery
Cats.
service.
Yeah.
GG is
GG
best cat.
is best cat. Anyways,
Moving on. The bid has been done. The bid has been fulfilled.
The cat does not return.
no. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I.
Love that movie. Love that movie.
That's a fun movie.
yes.
Anyway, Jiro Horikoshi was played in English by Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Mm-hmm.
and in the movie Inception, he played Arthur. And while I'm not going to give the Japanese cast a lot on this, I did want to at least mention that in the Japanese version, this character is voiced by none other than Hideaki Anno of Neon Genesis Evangelion fame.
Mm.
I didn't even know
Did you say pain?
I said fame.
I thought you said pain.
Well, it'll be that too.
If you ever watched Evangelion, you understand it.
Yes.
You understand that kind of pain.
Especially that movie.
I haven't seen
Right.
the movies, just the series.
Well, the
you have to watch End of Evangelion to finish the
the
series,
series.
and so you can be tortured with the rest of us.
Does it give
Tell
me
me you
closure to the ending of the series that made no sense?
No,
Then why would I do that to myself?
because
It's called fan rage. That's
yeah,
why you
I'm
made it.
fine. I'm more
because it
about
was-
fan joy.
Because it was Hideaki Anno giving a middle finger to all the fans who hated how the show ended.
oh
is
yeah,
true.
you're really selling me on this.
I didn't say here's the thing. It is a very well made movie.
It is.
I hate it.
That's why we're not doing anything Evangelion for like one another year or so.
I will let it go during the summer of 25 is when I will allow us to do the rest of them.
Okay.
I don't know when in the summer of 25 we're doing it, but I needed a break.
So an entire month full of rebuild of Evangelion.
Oh, good night. You know you can. Do you know that at our Walmart, the Walmart you can't find movies at,
Yes.
they have 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time.
Right.
Why? I couldn't find that movie if I looked for it back when we reviewed that.
It was hard
show.
to review.
I'm not talking about End of Evangelion. I'm talking about
yes,
the
rebuild.
fourth rebuild film.
Yes.
The one that's like 5 hours long. It's not 5 hours.
2.5
long, but
hours.
Anyway, back
It's
to
a
where
long
we
one.
were.
Anyways,
Back on topic.
so we're talking about cats, right?
I love cats. I love every kind of cat. Okay, moving on. Naoko Saotomi was voiced by Emily Blunt, and in the movie Oppenheimer, she played Kitty Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
Kiro Honjo was played by John Krasinski, and he was Jim in The Office.
Yes.
Oh, I have a
Mr.
picture of him.
Mr. Fantastic in a certain film. Until it became spaghetti.
What are you doing, Francis?
This is Jim from The Office.
The link thing went away. How do I make that show up now?
I don't know.
Oh, well. I was going to be nice. It won't let me now because I can't find the thing to do it.
Here, let's try this again.
Private chat.
Yes,
Jim
that
from
is
The
Jim.
Office.
That is
Yeah.
Jim from The
That's
Office.
Jim from the
Yeah.
office.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, just don't give us a copy strike, right?
Copyright strike.
Right. Thank you.
It's a picture. You're fine.
It's not going to hit on the audio.
That is true.
Kurokawa was voiced by Martin Short, and he was Ned Niederlander in The Three Amigos,
Ah.
a movie I got to make you watch.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it.
No, him, Jacob.
I've seen it before when
Oh,
I was
you have? Okay.
a lot younger.
I
it's
did
like,
for some reason I thought you hadn't.
No, I've
Ah.
seen it
My apologies.
years ago when did that came out? The early 90s?
Yeah, I think
I
Something
think
like that?
Three Amigos was late 80s.
Late 80s.
turn of the decade. Hans Kastrop, that was the German guy who was talking to them out on the mountain, was played by Werner Herzog, and he was the client in The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Saotomi was voiced by William H. Macy, and he played Vice Principal Walters in Mr. Holland's Opus.
Mm-hmm. And many other
Yes.
great supporting cast.
Mhm.
Oh, by the way, The Three Amigos came out in 1986.
Yes.
Well, at least it was after I was born.
Yes.
Jiro's mother was played by Edie Merman, who was the computer voice in Tron Legacy.
Mm.
Kaio Horikoshi was played by Mae Whitman, who was Roxy Richter in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
That was an interesting movie.
Hattori was played by Mandy Patinkin.
Oh.
And you already know which one I'm going to mention here. Because he was Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride.
I was thinking more Criminal Minds, but still.
Inconceivable.
It's
Very inconceivable. Mrs. Kurokawa was played by Jennifer Grey, and she played Jenny Bueller in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
And Baby in Dirty Dancing.
Yes.
Yes.
But I like Ferris Bueller better.
Fun fact, I've never seen
You've not seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
No, I haven't. I own the film, but I haven't watched it yet.
Writing that down for future Plus film. Giovanni Battista Caproni was voiced by Stanley Tucci, who was Dr. Abraham Erskine in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yes. Another great supporting actor.
Kingdom Hearts connections. How many of y'all think we have?
5,000.
No.
No. There's not that big of a cast.
There's not that many people in this.
4,999.
Yeah, we'll
So
go.
Francisco's
4,998. 4,997.
Being doing this honestly. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
How
How many do you think we have?
It's a 2011 dub? 12, 13.
So yes, it's modern.
Yeah, very modern. Yeah, 2013. So I would go with 4.
Close.
Really?
Down.
2.
Up.
4,996.
3.
4,995.
3.
3. We had 3 of them.
I
May
was so
Whit-
close.
May
you were so close.
Yeah, May Whitman. May
Whitman.
Whitman was Kaio here. She was Yuffie in Kingdom Hearts. Michelle Ruff was additional voices in both, and Eva Bella, who was young Kaio in this movie, was also young Elsa in Kingdom Hearts.
Huh. Interesting.
And that's all I've got for cast and crew. What do we got in info and stuff, Jacob?
All right. So, info and stuff. We have. There's a part I really want to pull a pauljpowers.com, but I'm not going to this time.
We already made those jokes.
Yes, we have, and I'm not going to. You're welcome. IMDb has 7.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is an 88, and its audience score is an 85, which is kind of weird. Like, this is a really good movie, so apparently the critics liked it more than the audience.
It happens.
It does. I heard a very good point this afternoon while I was at work, that if you have a Rotten Tomatoes score that is low from the critics, like early reviews, most of the time it's going to be really, really good. That's what I heard. Now, I don't know for a fact, but this is coming from a fellow fan nerd, so it's a man his word. Thanks, Stevie. Available to watch on Max if you have a subscription to Max.
Or watch the Blu-ray like the three of us did.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a fantastic. Yeah. I think I might want to get this because anyways, I'm going to gush over it. So no. So production was obviously Studio Ghibli. Its distribution was Toho in Japan, and here in the United States initially was Walt Disney Motion Picture Studios.
Yes, this was the last one distributed by Disney.
Yeah, and then it was re-released through G-Kids. All right, so its runtime was 129 minutes. It felt a little bit longer, so that's like two and some change hours.
That would be a little over 120 minutes, yes.
Yes. Ha ha.
Or
Breaking
maybe
it down
5,000
for everybody
minutes.
else. Whatever.
Anyways,
the release date in Japan was July 20th, 2013. It was released a few months later. Now, granted, the first number I had, I can't verify completely, but there are promotionals that it did come out in theaters for a limited time for about a week in the LA movie circuit area on November 8th of 2013, but I can't verify that. But its official release was February 21st, 2014, under the Touchstone Pictures instead of Disney. I don't know why, because they released everything else Studio Ghibli under the Walt Disney.
If I had to
branding.
make a guess,
Is it too violent?
no, I wouldn't be surprised if this is around the time John Lasseter got outed from Disney.
That was in
He was-
2013. I feel
he
like it was
was-
later
no.
than that.
It
That was a lot
could be
later.
later than that.
It's a lot
I may
later.
be wrong, but it could just be that the Ghibli stuff just was not what Disney wanted to promote at that time. They still had
It
a
makes
contract for all the new stuff, and so they put it on one of their other labels.
Good.
You see that happen. You've seen that happen with some of their other movies that were Disney initially funded, and then they put it out on somebody else.
The
Put it up-
Rocketeer.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Amazing movie.
So yeah,
I mean-
Lobster was out.
I mean,
in
Santa
June.
Claus initially went to Hollywood Pictures,
Right. And the
the same great people who put out the original Mario Brothers movie.
and Touchstone also put out because Disney wanted to be like they funded it, and we've already reviewed this film, but it's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes,
In which Disney has kind of taken back. It's like, okay, this is ours now.
yeah, they kind of reversed it back into the
Mhm.
Disney canon.
Yeah, because everybody loves it so much. Anyways, March, the latest date it was released.
We know Francisco loves all this Disney talk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because Disney's just the best.
Why you gotta do this to him? What did he ever do to you?
March,
Thank you, Calculus.
May 19th, 2014, the United Kingdom was released. Box office. The film grossed 11.6 billion yen, translated to $113 million in United States currency. In the Japanese box office, making it the highest grossing film in Japan in 2013. So it's box office here in the United States apparently had an estimated budget of $30 million for its US and Canada, mind you. It's for February 23rd, 2014. It grossed 13,751,000. It grossed over here in the United States, Canada, 5.3 million, and internationally it grossed $136.8 million. It's like, yeah, it made his money back in spades.
Yeah, but if it cost $30 million here, I guess that's marketing, and it only made like $1 million. Then that's not great.
No,
for
no,
US
that was the budget. That was the budget.
That's translated in American dollars.
Yeah, it's translated.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, so home release. Walt Disney Studio Japan released the film on Blu-ray and DVD in Japan on June 18th, 2014. The Japanese DVD release sold 128,784 units until December 7th, 2017, as a further 6,735 units between December 8th, 2014 and June 7th, 2015, for a combined 141,245 DVD units as of June 7th, 2015 in the United States. Walt Disney Home Entertainment released the film on Blu-ray and DVD starting on November 18th, 2014. The release included supplemental features with storyboards, the original Japanese trailer, and TV spots behind the microphone featuring members of the English voice cast, and a video. Let's see, that was announced. The audio for both in Japanese language were in monologue. Let's see, even though the North American rights Disney owned to Studio Ghibli's had expired in 2017. Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment continued to distribute The Wind Rises until 2020, when Studio Ghibli re-released it on DVD and Blu-ray for the first time on September 22nd, 2020, with the distribution through Shout Factory.
Mhm.
The re-release took longer than expected than other Studio Ghibli titles, as it was still a fairly new film, and Disney still held the U.S. rights. Let's see, the movie grossed over $9 billion from physical sales of DVD and Blu-ray sales in the United States of April 2020. In the United Kingdom, it was in 2015 the fifth best-selling foreign language film on home video, and the third best-selling Asian film before The Raid 2 and the Tales of Princess
Kaguya, which is next week's film.
Yeah, Kaguya. Oh, thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
sorry, guys.
What?
It's just because that movie looks just not very good. So I'm just sorry that you have to watch it.
We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. So that's all I have for stuff.
Mark the tape. They're going to be disappointed. Coming from someone who's never seen the movie,
Yeah,
I know.
So are you basing it off the cover or what?
I've seen the trailer.
Oh.
Enjoy that 5 frames per second. I'm sure it'll be great.
Well, I mean, we did see My Neighbors the Amadas, so
Yeah, that was weird.
See,
but it was a good. I enjoyed that film, so
Right.
I'll stop you with weird. We'll go with that, and just be like that will carry the review.
all right. Anyway, back to the movie we're talking about this evening.
Poco Rosso. Okay, here we go.
So we're talking about cats, right?
Fricky licky.
Ricky Licky.
I don't know.
Fire and Ice. All right, I'll give you
Three
my
more
review
times.
again.
Getting into the summary of this film.
3.5.
In 1918, a young Jiro Horikoshi longs to become a pilot, but his nearsightedness prevents it. Inspired by a magazine, he begins having recurring dreams of flying with his idol, Italian aircraft designer Giovanni Battista Caproni, aboard the Caproni CA-60. Caproni tells him that he has never flown a plane in his life and that building planes is better than flying them.
What?
I
What?
heard you.
You heard nothing.
I heard lots of things.
You heard
Nothing's
something. It was in your
happening here.
Like, how did you hear it with headphones on?
Yeah, Drew.
Yeah,
how you
exactly.
hear that?
Exactly. How did you hear something with headphones on?
The sound carried into your microphone, which I heard over the headphones.
Semantics.
These are very good microphones.
Anyways, continue.
Anyway, Caproni tells him he has never flown a plane in his life and that building planes is better than flying them. 5 years later, following the real CA-60's failure, Jiro is an aeronautical engineering student at Tokyo Imperial University. While traveling home from a visit with family, he meets a young girl, Naoko Satomi, traveling with her maid, Kinu. The Great Kanto earthquake suddenly hits and Kinu's leg is broken. Jiro helps Naoko carry her to Naoko's family's home, leaving without exchanging names. In 1925, Jiro graduates with his friend Hiro Honjo, and both are employed at aircraft manufacturer Mitsubishi. Amidst the Great Depression, they were assigned to perfect a fighter plane, the Mitsubishi 1MF9, for the Imperial Army. During a test, it breaks apart in midair and is rejected. Pivoting their plans, Mitsubishi sends Jiro and Hondo into the Weimar Republic in 1929 to obtain a production license for the Junkers G-38 aircraft, intending to build a bomber. Although Hugo Junkers welcomes them, the two men are blocked from obtaining complete plans for the, I am not pronouncing the name of that plane, Searcher Heights boys, for this plane.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
With them and their co-workers discouraged by how far back Japan's aeronautics technology is from the rest of the world, Jiro returns to Japan while Hondo stays and eventually develops the Mitsubishi G4M. In early 1932, Jiro is promoted to chief designer for a fighter plane competition sponsored by the Imperial Navy, but his design, the Mitsubishi 1MF10, fails testing in 1933 and is rejected. Disappointed, he takes a vacation at a summer resort in Karuizawa. There he reunites with adult Naoko, who has been searching for him since they first met. The two quickly develop a romance assisted by German tourists named Hans Kastrop. Critical of Nazi Germany, Kastrop privately tells Jiro that Adolf Hitler has apprehended Junkers for resisting Nazism, and that Germany must be stopped from declaring another world war, this time with Japan, allied with Japan. He then flees arrest from the Special Higher Police. Later, Naoko is diagnosed with tuberculosis, so Jiro asks Naoko's father for his blessing to marry her, and the two are engaged. However, Naoko wishes to wait until she recovers to marry and moves back in with her family. Wanted in connection with cash drop, Jiro hides at his supervisor Kurokawa's home while he works on a new fighter aircraft project for the Imperial Navy. Jiro briefly leaves when Naoko suffers from a pulmonary hemorrhage. After Jiro briefly tends to her, Naoko decides to check into a mountain sanatorium to recover, but cannot bear being apart from Jiro and returns to be with him. Kurokawa and his wife marry the two and allows the couple to stay in their home with Naoko's father's permission. Jiro's sister Kayo, a doctor, warns Jiro that his marriage to Naoko will end tragically as tuberculosis is incurable. Though Naoko's heart deteriorates, she and Jiro enjoy their fleeting time together. Jiro leaves for his test flight for his new prototype aircraft, the Mitsubishi KA-14, knowing that she will die soon. Naoko leaves farewell letters for Jiro, her family, and friends, and discreetly leaves the house in a vain attempt to return to the sanatorium. At the test site, Jiro is distracted from the success of his plane by a gust of wind, suggesting Naoko's passing. In 1945, after Japan has lost World War II, Jiro dreams of Caproni again, regretting that his aircraft was used for war. Caproni comforts him, saying that Jiro's dream of building beautiful aircraft was nonetheless realized in the form of his masterpiece, the A6M-0 fighter. Naoko's spirit also appears, encouraging her husband to live on. After her spirit departs, Jiro and Caproni walk together into their shared kingdom of dreams. There's a lot of dream imagery in this film, by the way.
And it's
basically,
so good.
every time Caproni shows up, Jiro's dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fair warning.
No. This is all real life, man.
Getting into the trivia for this
Trippy,
film.
bro. Come on.
After the first screening of the film, director Hayao Miyazaki said it was the first time he ever cried during the screening of his own movie. Concerned that surround sound in movie theaters distracted the audience from paying attention to what was happening on the screen, Hayao Miyazaki ordered the film to have a monaural sound mix.
Yeah, that's what was distracting.
Yeah.
The earthquake and fire were the result of the 1929 Great Kanto earthquake. The protagonist, Jiro Horikoshi, is a fictional character made from a mix of the actual lives of Tatsuo Hori, the author of the short story of the same name, and Jiro Horikoshi, the designer of the Zero fighter aircraft. The title comes from Hori's translation of a quote from Paul Valéry's poem, Le Cimetière Main, which I'm probably mispronounced that as well. As I said, this was the last Studio Ghibli film to be distributed by Disney in the United States. In early 2013, the 72-year-old Hayao Miyazaki announced that he would retire after the release of The Wind Rises, marking his sixth such announcement.
6?
Yeah, 6. I didn't realize it was 6.
Wow, I thought it was only 3.
Yeah.
Jiminy.
Seriously, guys, this time.
Since then, many rumors have circulated stating that he has announced his return to feature films once again. However, these are unfounded and based on pure speculation from Ghibli's co-founder, Toshio Suzuki. Suzuki himself has since stepped down as producer in 2016. Miyazaki did come out of retirement to direct his supposedly final film titled The Boy and the Heron, 2023. And that brings me to the end of the trivia. So, Francisco, what is your first like for this film?
So there's a quote that Stanley Tucci's character, and I'm not going to remember much of the names. Caproni, that is his name.
Caproni.
He says in one of the dreams that I think Jiro's upset that he's dreaming about these aircraft that he can't really seem to get to fruition, and Caproni says, inspiration unlocks the future. Technology eventually catches up. And I thought that was just I don't know, something about that really spoke to me, that we can see glimpses of the future when we're inspired by God, by other factors, and we can desire to see that future come to be. But at this side of eternity, it's never going to be quite what we envision. Even if technology catches up, but I think there is an element to technology catching up with whatever you're inspired to see that allows us to realize, all the technology we have, computers, our ability to do this podcast across thousands of miles, being able to fly in airplanes and whatnot. So I just really appreciated that quote, and so that's my first like.
Jacob, what's your first like?
My first like is going to be the breadth and depth of the animation, including the lack of word, gushing imagination
Mm-hmm.
of Hayao Miyazaki.
Mhm.
When he's talking about using the character, he goes to his dream state, kind of like Inception.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Be like
Mhm.
you take the backgrounds. It's like we said in the show before, you could literally just take a freeze frame, put it on your wall. It's gonna be gorgeous. Yeah, like definitely if you go into the dream state where he's talking to I want to say Giovanni, but not
Caproni.
Caproni,
Be like he's talking to Caproni. Which again, I'll realize that's fiction, but it's still gorgeous. It's still wonderful, beautiful storytelling and visual storytelling as it is. And this movie all around, be like, I can't say enough about the animation. Really, like Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki did the Lord's work when it came to animation in this movie. It was freaking fantastic. I loved it so much. So yeah, the freaking animation in this movie. I'd be like, yes, Studio Ghibli has done some amazing films, but I think the level of imagination and creativity in this movie is fantastic. So that is my like.
That's interesting. I would feel like I would consider other of his repertoire more imaginative and more rich, but that's fair.
Yeah.
My first like for this is going to kind of bounce off Jacob's, but I'm going to focus more on the animation during flight.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Hayao Miyazaki, we know it, loves airplanes. He loves putting stuff. He loves flying. He's got an obsession with the stuff.
Porco
Rosso. You see it in like nearly every film he does. There are characters flying somehow. And I honestly think when you're talking this film, his imagination touched with actual realistic designs of aircraft feels like it must be his love letter to the entire thing. I know he also wrote the manga this was based on, so that's part of it. But the animation on first off, the detail and the love shown to every single plane in this film, both those that actually worked and those that fell apart and were unsuccessful. But the actual flights of everything in the air and flying was just breathtakingly beautiful. I think in terms of interesting, I think Porco Rosso actually does have the better flight scenes in a lot of cases.
Fair.
And especially more exciting. In this, because all the flights we see here are all test flights. So there's not like a lot of, it's not like dogfighting or anything like that, like you see in Porco Rosso.
Yeah.
But in this one, it was fun. I say fun. It was beautiful, breathtaking, and man, I kind of do wish I'd have saw this one in the theater. But even watching it here at home, I thought it was done very well, and I appreciated the flight scenes in this because they were just beautiful.
Yeah.
Francisco, what's your second like?
My second like is it's sort of a toss up. I had two I could go with, but I'll say my honorable mention would be the Kurokawa, Martin, the character voiced by Martin Short. I just loved all his he'd get upset, but he is also good-hearted, so I like that character. But,
absolutely.
But the thing that I liked more was the relationship between Jiro and I forget Nahoko, I think was her name.
Naoko, yeah.
Naoko. It was just so beautiful and touching. I love the element that once they were together, it seemed to push his ability to design like the Zero and this ultimate flight. That's not that she necessarily had an influence or helped him in terms of the design, but I think there is something about having that partner there to support him that I don't know, escalated his ability to create this airplane. So, I mean, I know that's not in the real life. That's not how it went down.
Right.
But
we'll get into that when we get to my dislikes.
Okay.
To Crew's dislikes.
One of my dislikes is I'm going to talk about it, but yeah. I have an opinion.
I enjoyed how this film captured that relationship.
Mhm.
I think it's. I feel like I'm sort of in the camp you sound like you're in, Drew, where I wish this was real. It would have made it even more compelling, but that it was like that wasn't real, it took away from it. But it was still beautiful in of itself. That was my second like.
Okay. Jacob, what's your second like?
My second like of this movie, and it shows the gravity of the situation, and again with visual.
But planes defy gravity.
Agreed, and also witches do too.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
It's a great play, by the way, and the movie's coming out, which is gonna be like, yes.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Wicked.
He's talking about Wicked.
Oh, I think it's about Kiki's Delivery Service.
That's
Stay on topic, Jacob.
You've
Gosh.
been defying gravity.
Okay, you know what? Fine. We're going off the beaten path. Let's talk about Top Gun, guys. That had some awesome dogfighting scenes.
Yes,
my
but
goodness.
Jacob, if we're going to be talking about stuff in which a certain singer has sung music for, why don't you just let it go?
Why don't you just go into the unknown then?
Why? Why am I doing this?
Because
I don't know,
you love
Francisco.
summer.
Why are you doing this? Calculus, I don't need your opinion. Oh, I think you do. You secretly love Disney, don't you? I do not at all. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just, but like, Francisco's just sadly lost in the woods.
Into the woods?
It's from the second movie.
Or Into the Woods.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
Doing that too.
I'm sorry.
What can I say?
Frozen 2 did not make the impact Frozen did, and I don't really like either film.
Fair.
I
My wife doesn't like Frozen.
I'll not say I don't like the films. I'm saying they're overrated.
Fair.
All right, John Wick. Let's go. Let's talk about John Wick.
Wow, that's good.
There's your new Disney princess.
Yes, they were purchased by Lionsgate
Oh,
or
my
Lionsgate,
word.
whatever. But my second like for this film is the it shows the gravity of the situation with the wife or the fiance at the time when she has her hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And just the visual the gutter wrench of that moment where it's just more because she's painting and it's like all it is paint pouring out. Maybe it's obviously it's blood, but
I was gonna say that was blood.
It's gorgeous. It'd be like it's a gorgeous but at the same time just gut wrenching moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be like obviously all of us have spit out blood before, but to just be able to have that much coming out of your body and just be like the gravity of that moment is so like breathtaking. It's like, oh my gosh.
Jacob, I have to say, while my nose is blood, I can't say I've ever spit up blood.
Okay.
I mean, I have when I've brushed my teeth too hard or flossed really hard, but not from like my chest. So.
No. Be like, it's like when
I've never had a cold that did that.
Okay. Be like like Francisco said, be like if you brush your teeth too hard or something like that. Be like we either had a nosebleed or be like you spit out blood because you're
not all of us have perfect gums like you, Drew. Okay, I see you like going like, what are they talking about?
I don't have perfect gums.
Sure.
If we're gonna get gross on this, I could say that I do know the one time technically blood left my mouth. It was because it was snot that came back up the wrong way.
Ooh,
I didn't figure we wanted to go there,
so we went there.
Y'all pushed it.
All right, the Expendables. Let's get back to on topic.
No, but that scene, the entire weight and gravity of that scene, and the fact that like she's painting, she's doing what she loves, and she has the hemorrhage, and it be like it's illustrated or at least demonstrated that it's red paint, and it's beautifully done, but it shows the gravity of everything, and like her sickness, and knowing at that time period. Tuberculosis was uncurable. It was be like that was your death sentence. Yeah, and I think of Doc Holliday, Tombstone. Be like to have this positivity on life, even though be like you are going to meet your maker. But it's just like beautiful. I love that scene, but at the same time, it's so gut wrenching. To see that you see where our main character gets that telegraph
Yeah.
and realize what's going on, he runs to her side because he be like, oh my gosh, because if like, for example, like I'm recently married. If something happened to my wife, she was in an incident or accident, or was God forbid, be like she got tuberculosis. Now, granted, it's treatable now, thankfully. But that would just be like, you do any, like Francisco, you completely understand. You would do anything to get to her. Yeah. Hopefully and preferably someday Drew will encounter that and understand that.
One day,
I'm praying for that. But yeah, that one scene in particular, because they lead up to talking about tuberculosis and realizing that she is sick, and then you get that one beautiful but painful moment. And what leads into that is beautiful. Oh my gosh. I've never thought of something so horrifying as beautiful. It's so touching. Yeah,
I can totally see that.
Because you have that dialogue over it, and it's just that pouring out of like paint.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my gosh. It's like, wow. Like Miyazaki, mwah, beautiful, but tragic.
Yeah.
That is my second like of this movie.
my second like for this film is basically it's the historical accuracy when you get down to it. The amount of detail in a lot of the historical things they bring up and the truths that they bring up.
Okay.
There is some historical inaccuracy that we will talk about later.
Just
but
little.
But a lot of the stuff that is true in this, such as the tuberculosis and all that being cured, the fact that all those planes are real planes that that were designed.
I feel like some of those Italian planes in the dreams were not real.
No, they were built.
They were built, but they did not fly.
No,
or not fly far.
They flew, but due to the wing structure, they did collapse.
Yeah,
it was the early 20s.
They were still experimenting with what kind of plane structure actually worked. But the earthquake. Good night. The earthquake and fire was almost hard to watch.
Yeah,
that was
just so much destruction.
Yeah, and then but still being done. The earthquake being animated in the Miyazaki style, which is still cartoony in a sense.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was still if we were still in a dream or not.
I thought it was a dream sequence too, especially since that was the first time I noted that the sound effects were all being done by human voices. I was like, I didn't know what I was looking at the time, but that entire sequence especially with the large amount of people walking down that train track to try to get to the safe part of town, and them having to get all the books out of the university and all that stuff. I mean, it's a level of detail I don't think I was expecting, but I'm glad it was there. And I think with that, the effects that Naoko has with the tuberculosis seem to hit harder than it might have earlier, because he didn't shy away from what that disease did, even though he did not, he didn't show the character's death, which I'm actually fine with. I didn't need to see the character actually collapse. But you see the effects leading up to it, and you can definitely feel the love between these two characters.
Yeah.
To the point where I actually questioned, what the heck are you doing on this test field? You should be at home. What are you doing here? She's going to die. What are you doing here, Jiro? And of course, that is when she died.
Yeah.
But even with the minute that wind changed and he looked, it's like I knew what happened, because you could tell that it was like the string had been cut, for lack of a better term. That's how it felt. So I appreciated how, even with the historical context, he was able to work the drama into it. It didn't feel like it, because a lot of times when I watch biopics, the drama either seems forced or like sped up for pacing reasons for the story. This never felt like that. In fact, there's parts in this movie I wish he would have sped it up because it drug in a couple spots. But He did such a well of mixing. I guess really what my second like is the mixing of the historical accuracy with the drama, because it actually still felt like a good, well-made story without feeling like you have to do anything funky, like basically, well, like Oppenheimer did last year, where where the story was told out of sequence in order to keep some sense of intensity or whatever. This is like the story is told chronologically. You're allowed to meet the characters when they're necessary. There's a large gap between when he first meets Naoko and when he meets her again, which is really quite natural to happen. I can see that easily happening. And it never felt like it was forced, which is why when we get to my dislikes, it's going to pain me even more. But before we do my first dislike, why don't we touch on Francisco's first dislike?
Oh, all right. So I'm sad for Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. They must be really hurting for funds. I think they're spending all their money on animators, and they have no sound effects budget. I mean, I guess they probably decided, let's hire Francisco. Hey, Francisco, can you do an earthquake? Oh, sure. Hey, that's great, Francisco. Can you do an airplane engine?
I was wondering why we hired Gerald McBoing Boing for this.
Who?
I don't know either.
Gerald McBoing Boing?
I don't know who that is.
Good night, you people. You call yourself, and Jacob calls himself a cartoon person.
Let's play the GIF from Guardians of the Galaxy of the guy saying "Who?"
No, it was a cartoon, a theatrical cartoon from back in the day with a character who spoke in sound effects.
Okay, well, fine.
That's what I was referencing.
Oh, okay,
gotcha. But it's just, it was so distracting for me hearing the Foley effects and and probably not all the Foley effects, but especially the big sound effects, whether it's earthquake, fire, airplane engines, explosions. They're all just like someone just doing it with their mouth, and I'm like, why? I didn't understand the artistic reason for that decision, and so it really threw me.
Honestly, but I really, because at first I didn't notice it until it's like, oh, okay, that didn't sound quite right, and to be like, okay, these are people like making these noises on a microphone. And it's like, okay, but I take it more as like, okay, that's an artistic liberty, and it's they're taking that creativity to an even greater level instead of using like, built-in sounds or something like that to make it different. Now,
it's laziness. It's laziness.
I don't think it's laziness. I also don't think it's a good creative decision
because if you're doing
because it's off-putting is my problem.
Okay, fair enough.
We joked about earlier when we mentioned the soundtrack was monaural because that's what's distracting was surround sound. Yeah. No, it's the sound effects being made by mouth noises.
If you're doing a biopic on Gerald McBoing Boing or Frank Welker or someone that makes a lot of different sounds with their voice, then that makes perfect sense. It's like, okay, so we're going to play into that this person makes these sounds, so all the effects are going to be those sounds.
Right.
That makes sense. This has no relation. There's nothing about, I'm in an airplane. That's when I hear all these mouth sounds and people making sound effects with their voice. Yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't.
Imagine if when we watched, when Oppenheimer came out last year, and we get to the big atomic bomb scene, and after the bit where the audio all cuts out because it takes a while for the actual boom to get there, and when the boom comes, this because that's kind of what this was.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my first dislike.
Jacob, what's your first dislike? I got him.
You did. You got me too, Vayner. You got me too, Vayner, on that one. Anyways, my second dislike of this film, it's kind of a like, but it's kind of a like and dislike in a way. It's kind of a hybrid of the two. It's a like, but a dislike. The way it ends, the fact that you be like, it ends on a sour note, and be like, it kind of reminds me of the Avril Lavigne song. I know some people don't like her, some don't, some do. I don't care. But so much for my happy ending.
Mhm.
And it's where our main character, he's in his dream and he's having advice from his imagined mentor.
Mhm.
And it's just like it's a very somber moment. And I'm like, and like for most of us, we want that happy ending because like all Studio Ghibli films, for if I'm incorrect, please tell me, they all end in a happy note.
One, I will say, does not.
Yeah, Grave of the Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies does not end happily.
No, I agree, and I think the boy deserved what he got. But I have my opinions.
I'm trying to think through the rest of them if they ever technically I would call a sour ending.
I feel like the boy and the heron is kind of
spoilers.
Neither one of us have actually watched Boy and the Heron.
I mean, it's a great film with lots of awesome, good endings.
Up until this point in the Ghibli film library that we have watched,
yes,
I can't think of one that I would call an unhappy ending.
Yeah,
there's I think there's some that are bittersweet.
Agreed.
I think you can claim, at least for some characters, like Liam Neeson's character in Ponyo, that's kind of a bittersweet thing for him, having to lose his daughter at the end of it.
Yeah, a little bit, but
I mean, this is like the most bitter, and bittersweet's the best adjective I can come up with for this ending. This is the most bittersweet ending of the film because he still lost his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he did, and his masterpiece, his magnum opus, the Zero, was a warplane that was hated by many people.
Yeah,
especially the enemies. And basically, what I did read is about the actual Jiro is that he actually did not want to design warplanes. He wanted to design passenger. He was a bit of a pacifist even before World War II happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not really happy that he had to design warplanes.
Yeah.
And his magnum opus is a warplane. There's not much he can do about it at this point. So yeah, it's a very bittersweet ending.
Oh yeah, like that's a great example of it.
But at the same time, he still got to design a beautiful airplane. It may not have been used the way he wanted to.
And also the fact Jiro did he got to be with his wife. He got to know the love of his life, which was planes and this woman. Now, did that actually happen in history? No.
To quote the Bard, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all."
Exactly. But yeah, it's
is it?
I don't know. You gonna fight Shakespeare?
Shakespeare who?
Shakespeare. You never heard Shakespeare until you've heard it in the original Klingon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is that 6?
That's 6.
Okay. Yeah.
I do actually own a copy of Hamlet translated into Klingon.
He does. I've seen it.
My gosh.
But it's like, yes, this movie does end on a sour note, or like more of a it does end on a sour note, but at the same time, it has this be like, I don't know how to describe it. Be like, I enjoyed the ending. It was like, okay, be like, we end on this down note.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love it because it's not this, be like, she gets her prince. Oh, everything's hunky-dory. Be like, no, the ending is kind of, we lost everything. But at the same time, there's this hope of, but I did good. I did something good. At least my intention was good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'll say to that. And Drew, I'm sorry if this is sort of walking on your dislike or one of them, then I'll stop. But I feel like, Jacob, I see what you're saying, but the problem is this is a fictional biopic.
Agreed.
So it should end better than it does. If this was the real life story, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, this happens in real life, and thank you for not shying away from the pain that was it.
I will say, as a fictionalized story, I do like the ending. Yeah, it's a very truthful ending in the feelings of if this stuff had happened. This is very truthful to those kind of events. Yeah, and I can understand the feeling, and then I am going to go ahead and transition into my first dislike with this.
Go ahead.
It's not what happened.
Yeah,
fair. Because while Jiro was married, It was not to a woman named Naoko Satomi. It was, I can't even remember his wife's actual name, but it is not that. She is not based on, this character is not based on the designer's, Jiro's actual wife. It is based on different characters Miyazaki has written, strong female characters Miyazaki has either written or seen in other places that he kind of just molded into this one character to be this love interest for what I'm assuming to be one of Miyazaki's heroes as a child. I'm not saying it's not well done, but the problem, see, I give, with Greatest Showman, I give a pass on it not being a truthful biopic. I don't know how to actually say the name of that genre.
I've heard both.
But I give that one a pass simply because that is as P.T. Barnum's life story, the way P.T. Barnum would have told it. It works for that one. But this is supposed to be, the way this presents itself as this is the true story of what happened to the inventor, the designer of the airplane that one of the most notorious air warplanes in World War II by the Japanese. It's supposed to be telling about his life, and the problem is the minute you realize that a major character in this entire film is completely and utterly fictional, it immediately brings into question how much of the rest of the film is real and how much of it is fictional.
I think it's all fictional.
I mean, it is all there's some truth to it, but there's a lot of stuff here
that are true.
There's a lot of stuff here that is fictional.
There's truth to Star Wars. It doesn't make it true.
I agree.
But this is also based on a
there is
man's
actual
life.
history that you
there's
see in
historical
this.
points in here.
Are you're
But
telling me there's an
but
actual
history.
Japan? I don't know.
I'm just trying to say.
Next thing you're going to tell me is that we can actually fly in airplanes and that the Earth's round.
It's like saying that
Roy!
9/11 didn't happen.
Quit being a flat earther. No, what I'm getting at is when
You're getting somewhere?
believe it or not, yes. To a degree, if I'm going to see something that I know is supposed to be based on a true story, I expect it to be at least mostly truthful to the events that occurred.
The key events, the key people.
Key events.
Yeah.
The fact that you introduce a love interest for the main character, I believe actually in this case is disrespectful to the actual woman Jiro married and loved.
Whose name was Sumako Horikoshi.
Thank you. Thank you. But I think it's disrespectful to her
Yeah.
to actually invent a whole new character for this man to fall in love with.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Granted,
absolutely.
if he had named the character after his actual wife, and maybe I'm going to make a guess she didn't. His actual wife did not die of tuberculosis.
No, in fact, he's the one that died of pneumonia, so it was a lot closer to that.
Yeah.
So it just bugs me. It's like the entire time I'm watching this going, look, I know you take some liberties when you're making a film based on a true story because you still have to make a good film, and sometimes real life does not make a good film.
Yeah.
I understand that.
No, great.
But you at least try to be as accurate and faithful to the story, the actual events. When you're making the story, you don't create entirely new characters solely to make you more sympathetic for your main character, because you are disrespectful to the actual people you replace to put that character in there, and you are disrespecting the man himself because you just told me that the woman the actual Jiro fell in love with wasn't a good enough woman for you to have in the film.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that.
You want to mess with the character? Fine. I can't help that. That's part of those liberties. But you can't just invent an entirely new character out of whole cloth just because you wanted to give this person a better wife than you think he had. I don't know if that's what Miyazaki was doing. It just annoys me that he combined this entire other story because he thought that was better than the actual events.
Well, here's the thing.
It feels like I'm reading fan fiction of real life.
Here's the thing, Drew. Miyazaki just needed so much time sourcing people to make sound effects with their voices and mouths that he didn't have time to write the real characters.
This is based on a manga that Hayao Miyazaki wrote.
Yeah. See,
I have not read the manga, but I'm betting this character's in it.
I bet he took the manga
and
next to a microphone, flipped it, and that's how we got the engine sounds.
Probably.
Manga.
Manga.
Yes, and they pronounce it Mongo in Japan also.
Mongo?
I'm being facetious because I don't know how they pronounce mangoes.
In my life.
That's Mambo. Anyway. But yeah, normally I try not to let the creative license with real stories affect me this much, but this feels like it's a step too far.
Yeah.
In
Fair
creative
enough.
license with a film that's supposed to be based on a real character. So that
is totally fair.
You know what? I should have played this before I got
have.
into it.
Rentmaster activated.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com. Francisco, what's your second dislike?
You know what, guys? I didn't like that there weren't more cows that take the aircraft to the tarmac.
You're right. They were oxen.
Yeah, it should have been cows. Come on, guys. Calculus, they're asking me. Oh, sorry. So my second dislike was I appreciate that you like the dream sequences so much, Jacob, but please cut them all. Keep the first one and the last one.
What is wrong with you,
So
Roy?
much filler. This movie takes so long to go. Just be done with that. I don't need. That's like 20 minutes. Easy. You cut from this film that you don't need. There's so much beautiful actual aircraft that you don't need the fictional aircraft in these dreams. Yes, it's beautiful to look at. Buy a painting. Don't put it in my movie.
But that's the beauty of it. I totally understand. Be like, yes, you have all this amazing work around it, and you get Jiro's imagination. But for me, it's just like that just brings out more of the breadth of everything that Ghibli's doing. And I love that. Now, I understand being like, you want to cut the filler out and just, go with the story. I get it. But at the same time, it gives Jiro, our character, give him a mentor to talk to. And in real life, he probably had mentors, but he didn't have this guy. And so it's more of a his imagination with overdrive. What would this character say to me?
I get that.
Fine.
I get that, but I think what Francisco is saying, and I kind of agree with this also, we didn't quite need as much as we got.
Okay, fair enough.
And the dreams themselves, maybe this is a Western versus Eastern storytelling device, but I kept expecting, okay, he's going to have this dream and it's going to lead him to have this innovation with this next plans. This dream is going to help him, inspire him to do this. They weren't connected at all. It was just like, how you doing, Stanley Tucci? Oh, you're doing great. Come with me to do the airplane. Oh, you keep going. You're going to do great.
Fair.
There is no reason to have the dreams other than to have beautiful paintings on screen. There's no storytelling reason to have them, and there's nothing that drives the plot. Yeah, it's just like cut them all, streamline them, like the flats and rivets. You just got to cut them off.
That's fair. That is fair.
Mm-hmm. Good. I'm okay. I guess we can call it 3.5. We're done. Good.
Jacob, what's your second dislike?
Dang! Woo! Ow! Fighting words are there. Ouch! Ay, chihuahua! Man, I'm so pressing the fire off my arm. Ow!
You're gonna need a sensu bean to heal that burn.
Exactly. Woo,
Or some
my tail's on
ice
fire. Hold on.
for that fire.
Ice, baby.
I was going for fire and ice, but okay, guys.
Yes.
My second dislike, I don't have one.
Well, I could give you another one if that helps.
You could, but it's not going to be my second dislike. It could be your quote unquote third dislike.
I have another dislike. Would you need something?
So
Yes.
in my
Go eat some grass.
Oh.
my second dislike, then, since Jacob doesn't have one, just name everybody but the actual co-host.
It happens. Everyone just forgets about me. I don't know why. Be like, why don't I just show myself out?
Anyway,
All right, fine.
No, we love you, Jacob. Stay
Well,
put.
thank you. I appreciate at least someone appreciates me. Here.
Jacob,
What?
sit boy.
How dare you?
But my second dislike for this film is the pacing. This film is so slow.
It is.
I don't know how it feels so slow when there is so much that actually happens in it.
Oh,
Because it's a weird pacing to it.
It would have made a much better like short
and-
form miniseries or something.
Yeah,
I feel like.
if Francisco said that the dream sequences were shortened and there weren't as many of them, and we were actually
I didn't say shortened. I said cut. Just making
he
the
said
record
cut.
clear here.
not short and cut.
Well, I wouldn't have minded them to at least shortened.
That's fine. Don't pin that on me though.
But I mean, what I'm saying is that if they had streamlined the story a bit, if they had started with him like working for Mitsubishi instead of like where it's just leading up to him falling in love with airplanes and going to college and stuff. I'm not saying that stuff's not good for the film. I'm saying I kind of would like it to have more been focused either on going his actual career as an airplane designer, or if it had been more based on, I get being based on his life. It's just, it feels like it was so widely focused on this one. If you want to have him fall in love with somebody, A, make it his wife, but B, actually have it happen during that, it would have been fine. It's just, this movie takes place over the course of 30 years, and it didn't need to. It really only needed to take place over about 10. And you probably could have done this film in an hour and a half and it actually feel well paced. So,
fair.
Okay, if you need to go take a break, Francisco, go right ahead.
Okay.
Randy, so I can find my edit spot.
Okay. I don't know. Am I back? Am I still here?
I don't know. Are you?
Well,
I thought you had to go do something.
No, I had to.
Would it make
It's
sense?
just the easiest way to put that. I needed to change from I was on Wi-Fi and not using Ethernet. So I'm like, why are you guys looking so janky? Let me change. So I just
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we never saw a difference on our end.
We didn't.
So
okay.
Yeah, no change in flow or anything.
So I'm on Ethernet now, so we can continue.
Okay, good.
So that brings us to the end of our review of the film. We need to actually rate this film. Francisco, what are you actually rating this film?
And this is out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give
Rounded
this
to the nearest half.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
0 to 10.
4,993. 4,992. Am I getting close?
0 to 10, rounded to the nearest half.
Oh,
Roy.
okay.
Come on, Roy. My name ain't Roy. Roy.
This one's really tough for me. A lot tougher than Fire and Ice or some other movies. Because there is so much emotional weight that's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. There is a visually stunning movie in a lot of ways. I think I'm gonna give it a 5.5 though, just because it was a slog to get through. I don't think I'd watch it again. It's probably worth seeing once, especially if you're trying to like watch all the Hayao Miyazaki movies or Studio Ghibli movies. Yeah, and I can't remember. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli?
I've been saying Ghibli. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Well, whichever.
Ghibli is the one is the one I mostly hear.
Okay. Then yes, watch it. It's not like a bad movie or something. But it's you're gonna get yourself the big tub of popcorn and expect to be done with it when the movie hits about a third of the way through. So I'll say that.
All right.
So 5.5.
Jacob.
8.5.
I'm sorry. I think I heard my connection's having issues. I heard 8.5. I think you meant much lower than that. No, I don't think that's. I think you're confused. This is like no higher than a 7. Come on.
No, Misa is not confused. Like to me, this is an 8.5. It is a beautiful, breathtaking movie.
But it's
that
no
has-
ninja scroll for you, Jacob. Come on. I know there's some blood, but I mean, it's nothing like that.
Oh me.
Oh, bother. But no,
You are trying to set me up for that. I'm not falling for it, Jacob. Jakey.
Oh, don't you start.
You know where I'm
I
thinking.
know where you're going. I didn't even think about that when I said that.
I'm about to make your mother-in-law happy.
Oh, but anyways, be like 8.5. It is a beautiful movie. It's animated very well. It's got a beautiful, moving, touching, tragic story behind it. Even though be like the vast majority of the story is fictional.
Mhm.
I can look at that, take the historical account, and okay, we can, because there's some films you can look at and it's just like The Legend of Titanic or yeah, no, you can't separate that. With this, for me, for some reason, I can.
Okay.
It's okay. So you have all this amazing animation, storytelling, character development, the whole enchilada, the whole kit caboodle, the whole safe. It's amazing. It's an amazing, breathtaking film. And if my wife lets me, I might buy it physically at some point because I just love this film. It's so fun. Such a good film. I know
Fun?
that's like, yeah.
Are you
fun.
sure you'd call
Fun
this
to me
fun?
when it comes to like its storytelling, and again, it is like it's a slow movie, but it has so much to it. Be like it's like enjoying a nice, long, enjoyable sandwich.
Okay.
Be like it's
All
gonna
right.
take you time to get through it, but you're enjoying every bite, every morsel. You're tasting every like your taste buds are just lighting up with everything, and that's this movie to me. It is a beautiful, yummy sandwich that I am enjoying. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. 8.5. What about you? How about you, Drew?
I'm actually going to give it a 7.5.
7.5.
The historical issues I have with it are annoying. Don't get me wrong, and that's probably why I go and rate it this low.
Mm-hmm.
But so much of the rest of the film is so well made, and even the fictional character they bring in to be his love interest, her death is hard to watch.
It is.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
absolutely.
They do such a good job, which is why it makes me even more mad. It's not actually a real person.
Yeah.
But granted, this is also one I'm probably not going to put the movie back in the player again to watch, unless I am watching it with somebody else who's never seen it, and we're just going through like the entire Miyazaki or Ghibli filmography.
Yeah.
It's a well-made film. I enjoy it,
Mhm.
but at the same time, there are so many better Miyazaki films,
Yeah.
I think, than this one.
Absolutely.
I would put Porco in terms of flights. I would put Porco Rosso. In terms of animation, I would put Totoro. In terms of all of them in general, Kiki's Delivery Service.
Fair.
This is a good film.
Totoro, you felt had better animation than this.
Yes, I know this is
All
digital, but in terms of technique and beauty, I think Totoro had better animation.
All right. All right.
Just my opinion.
Fair.
I'm in Princess Mononoke camp, so that's where
Princess
my-
Mononoke is beautiful also, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing Ghibli actually did to a Disney princess film,
Agreed.
which is
Saying
also
something.
not anything like a Disney princess film. But
I would argue that it's one of the few, like the man is the hero and the protagonist in that film, whereas a lot of Studio Ghibli movies, it's the female character.
I will say, out of all of Hayao Miyazaki's film, I think this is the weakest one.
Ooh.
Which is
Okay.
which I know people are going to disagree with me on. It's not that this is bad. There's a lot of love and passion I see in this, and I appreciate that. And it is definitely far better a biopic, an adaptation of an actual historical event, than any of those 3 horrible Titanic films were that we reviewed. But at the same time, like I said, this is not one I'm going to jump back on. I honestly thought when I originally, when we were starting this, that Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, was always going to remain for me, the weakest Miyazaki film. And I do think this is weaker than it. So
Wow. Okay. I still have yet to see that and have wanted to see it.
it's
So-
not bad.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Bear in mind, when I'm saying that this is the weakest, I'm not saying it's a bad film.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there are far better films. It's just there's a high bar when it comes to Miyazaki. Even the stuff of his I really don't like that much are still well done. And that's actually true of really the entire Ghibli catalog, yes, including Ocean Waves. That's the end of our review for The Wind Rises. Next week.
So we averaged together 3.5, I think is what we got.
None of us were that low.
No.
You were the lowest at 5.
You know what? I'm not a mathematician or an aeronautical engineer, but I'm pretty sure we were around 3.5. Just saying.
Anyway, next week, join us for The Tale of Princess Kaguya, which I believe is actually based on a old Japanese mythological tale. But I know nothing else about it other than this was the first one that came out, I think, after I quit working at Walmart. So,
and the only reason I
and
know
moved to Jacksonville.
And the only reason I know anything about Princess Kaguya, I pronounce her name, I apologize, is watching Inuyasha. Because one of the movies is based off that.
That is actually an interesting question because I keep saying Kaguya.
Yeah,
It could be Kaguya.
It's Kaguya. I'm butchering it.
We will find out next week.
We'll get there when we get there.
We will find out next week. In the meantime, we are going to go to the intermission, do a shout out for one of our favorite Culture Box shows, and then we're on the other side. We're going to talk about some Batman.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out the Retro Rewind podcast. Every other week, you can join the Retro Rewind pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. You'd expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco, Paul, and a rotating cadre of guest hosts who are all out of time. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz. Oh, look, you're right here.
Whoa.
PaulJPowers.com, The Monster Island Film Vault, and Edwin Gonzalez. If you would like to have your name shouted out on the show, some special art from Jacob, uncut episodes, or for an additional $5, you can force Jacob and I to review something within reason in 2025, because all our 2024 spots are already filled.
Thank you, by the way.
We do thank y'all. But you can go support us over on Patreon. Also, we have t-shirts.
We do.
We have a special Ghibli Month t-shirt.
do.
that
You guys
have
are wearing
yet to
t-shirts
actually
right now.
advertised. We've
Not
actually,
these t-shirts.
not these, but we do have one out there. You can actually find the link to our Redbubble store in our show notes. So go check that out right now and go get you a t-shirt of
Do
Gigi holding Princess Mononoke's mask. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And Jacob drew it. So I will throw that in there.
Yeah. So go buy shirts. Our stickers, our mugs, whatever.
Okay, does anybody need a break before we jump into Batman?
I don't think so.
Alrighty.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Batman. There is a song that the folks sing.
In the great hall of the Justice League.
Welcome to our run through of Batman the Animated Series. Yay! Honestly, I think this is one with the animated series segment. We decided it just back for one reason. We are finally to it, and I will tell you the first. Before we get too far into this, I do want to point out a couple things. First off, our episode order is going to be confusing. Episode order for this for episode series is confusing in and of itself. Especially if you're going off broadcast order, since while Fox Kids was putting out 5 episodes a week, they also were sometimes doing stuff in prime time. Some of these were 2-part episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm going through this, I'm going to tell you the actual episode number of the broadcast of a production order, which is the order we're mostly going in, and the order and which episode is in broadcast order. So we're going to have a lot of fun numbers in this. So why don't we go ahead and jump into it? Our first episode is On Leather Wings, which is episode 1 in production order.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually episode 2 in broadcast order. It's first aired on September 6, 1992, and is directed by Kevin Altieri and written by Mitch Bryan. The cast introduced in this episode is, of course, Kevin Conroy as Batman and Bruce Wayne, Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon, Richard Mall as Harvey Dent, Robert Costanza as Detective Bullock, Clive Revel as Alfred, Lloyd Bachner as Mayor Hill, Mark Singer as Man-Bat and Langstrom, Renee Aubergenois as Mr. March, Pat Music as the female lab technician, and Meredith McRae as Francine. In this episode, when Man-Bat starts terrorizing Gotham City, everyone mistakenly thinks that Batman is the culprit. Trivia for this episode: Bruce Timm states he wanted the series to focus on mystery, mood, drama, as well as superhero action sequences, and that Man-Bat fit those categories perfectly. In an interview, he said Man-Bat was chosen specifically for the first episode because he wasn't familiar to very many people outside of comic book fans. Nobody had any preconceived notions about him. It wasn't like with the Joker, where you had to deal with people expecting him to be either Jack Nicholson or Cesar Romero.
Mm-hmm. And then you get Mark Hamill.
We'll get to that. Man-Bat originally killed people in this instead of merely stealing from the drug companies. This marks the first appearance of Man-Bat and his alter ego Kirk Langstrom. This episode was the first one to feature Batman bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Timm stated on the DVD commentary for this episode that he and Paul Dini fought with the censors to allow this shot, which was deemed inappropriate for younger viewers. In Mayor Hill's office, Harvey Dent is seen flipping a coin. He is not seen doing this again until the 2-part Two-Face episode.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode's opening, where Man-Bat's flying through Gotham, is reversed shot for shot in the end of the Batman Beyond episode Epilogue in 2005, with Terry McGinnis instead of Man-Bat.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Also, the blimp pilot in this, who was voiced by Kevin Conroy, as his first actual line in this is not as Batman, but as the blimp pilot saying, "What was that?"
Mm-hmm.
This is mirrored by a Gotham police officer, also voiced by Conroy, in that Batman Beyond episode, asking the same question as the last line spoken. So it's a nice little mirror image to the beginning and ending of the DC animated universe. Even though I think there was like one other show after Batman Beyond, wasn't there?
No, there.
That's right, because Teen Titans is not technically
Teen Titans is
part
not
of
part
it.
of the DCAU.
Even though it was referenced in like one Static Shock episode.
It was kind of referenced.
Weren't there lots of different other Batman shows though, like Batman Brave and the Bold or something like that?
Yes.
But those are not part of the DC animated universe.
No.
Those are other movies,
Yeah,
other shows.
If they're directly connected with Bruce Timm his animation style.
So basically,
okay.
it is Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock, and then like one or two other one season television shows. I
Yeah,
think.
the name of it.
Plus all the movies
Yeah.
connected to those things.
Yeah, not all the films are connected, but some of them are.
Yeah.
I'm sure the most boring one is connected.
Mask of the Phantasm. It's a great film.
That is a fantastic film.
See, they knew which one I was talking about, which means they know it's the most boring one.
No, Francisco. It's because we know you.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Roy.
think so. You don't know. Ah!
My name ain't Roy.
So, Mask of the Phantasm aside, what are your thoughts of On Leather Wings, Francisco?
I don't think bats have leather wings, so misnomer on this title, gosh. But
well, you're right. They're technically not leather until they've been tanned. The hide has been tanned and treated.
Yeah.
Despite that, though, this was I'm sure I've seen this episode when it was out in on TV when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen it since. And there's so much. This was a great. Hayao Miyazaki needs to learn how to tell stories by watching this episode.
Jeez!
You get flight.
Wow.
You get action. You get suspense. You get a little bit of horror. You get some blood. You get some interesting characters. You get foreshadowing of other villains. I mean, there's just this episode runs the gamut for how much you can pack into such a tight space.
But this episode does not have a strong female character.
No.
Okay.
But that's one of Ghibli's things. Even the one we just saw had a strong female character.
Okay, fine. I'm not talking about characterization. I'm telling about overall storytelling. I mean, and so this was just I really enjoyed this episode. It was very interesting. I was on not really the edge of my seat the whole time, but it's like, wow, this is really cool. You see some of Batman being a detective with the spray and the visor thing. You see him being fisticuffs. I really enjoyed this episode.
Jacob.
Oh my gosh. So first off, I do have to say a huge shout out and thank you to a friend of mine, Julie Bradley. A couple of years ago, she sent me a message on Messenger, Facebook, that she had a bunch of movies she was going to donate and knew that I was a big movie buff. And she wondered if I wanted them. It's like, sure, send me pictures. So she sent me pictures. And the first thing I saw was the edge of this box, which is the first edition of Batman the Animated Series. I'm like, oh, now I'm curious. So I opened it, and it's all four of them, the entire series.
Wow.
I was given this as a wonderful gift, along with a bunch of other movies. So yeah, I wanted to give a big shout out to my friend Miss Julie for her gracious gift with that, and I can put this in my PS4 and watch it, which I am truly grateful for. But with all that said, I love this freaking episode. Oh my gosh, this is like the catalyst for any nerd. I mean, I think of like a YouTuber I follow who does comic reviews. Like, this series got him in the comics. Like, this got me interested in comics. That's why I started, my cousin Brian, who's been on the show before, he was into comics and he was doing Joe Madureira comics. So I would go and look at his comics. So this all cascaded with Batman the Animated Series. So with that said, again, love this episode. It again, Francisco said, it's Batman in all gambits of what he does. He's the detective. He's a fighter. It'd be everything. The detective part I love, because and most times you don't really get to the detective part of Batman. We see a little bit of that in the Dark Knight. We see a little bit of that, or I think in little bits here and there, but you don't get the depth and gravity of Batman the detective in any other genre of Batman, except for this. I might be mistaken because I haven't watched all of the Batman yet.
I think you get in the comics. Hence it being detective comics, but
yeah, it goes to the root of Batman
in terms of adaptation.
Yes, that's what I mean.
But I want to be a smart aleck. Come on.
You You can't be a smart aleck on the show.
Welcome to the show.
You gotta be serious.
Jacob, you do realize all three of us are smart Alex?
I'm
And we've
fully
all
aware.
probably been called the other word for smart Alex.
Oh yeah, I got called that last weekend by my mother.
Wait, what word are you talking about?
One that we're not quoting on the show.
But how am I supposed to know what you're talking about?
Smart donkey. How's
Smart
that?
donkey.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You know, pin a tail on it.
Moving right along.
Yes,
Dig-a-doom,
exactly.
dig-a-doom.
Eeyore. But it's just like, oh my gosh, this is a brilliant. Be like the way the story is told. Yes, calculus. Get any green milk?
Mark Hamill's in the next episode, not this one.
Green milk. Oh, that's the Last Jedi joke. That's not a very good movie. I'm
Yeah, if you
surprised
just
you're
said-
talking about that.
If you said blue milk, I think that would be more appropriate.
I said it.
Probably.
Probably, yeah. But it's like you get this whole entire gamut of like who Batman is. I mean, like it starts off the TV show. It starts off with you generally knowing who Batman is. It doesn't start off with the grand. Oh, here's his backstory. You're just thrown into the story, and it's great because it gives that the. It doesn't give you the information you need. You'll learn it as you watch the show. It's not, be like, this is Bruce Wayne, who's actually Batman. And all this be like, it just cuts to the chase, who our character is, what he's doing. And you get to who the villain is, how does Batman solve it, and how does he crack the case? How does he defeat the villain? And it's just a great, stripped down, bare story that is fantastic. And that has lasted since 1993. 92. Over 30 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Say that, you're making me feel old.
But yeah, it's just like this is a fantastic start to a show. Be like, you get everything, and you're not be like, let's just blitz our the info dump of who this character is. No, let's just get in the story. And I guarantee some kids are like, Batman. Because he is.
I certainly did at that time.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, like ever since you watched Batman 69. 66. Yeah, 69.
66.
66. Sorry, Batman.
Pick a number, guys.
Calculus. Where did Francisco go?
I don't know.
Tell Roy to get
Francisco.
back here. Roy, get back here.
Yeah, he's not here right now. You got calculus.
Oh, brother.
Hey.
But I agree. This episode is really moving along.
Moving along. Hey, I know someone who can process something for you really, really quick. His name's Garrett. I guarantee he can do some processing for you.
I don't
They
get
would
it.
Hit, nudge.
But they would be felt burgers.
You know, I think this episode was based on me. It being leather wings and all. I lost some leather the other day. Maybe they used to make some wings.
Ay.
Exit stage left.
Oh, but yeah, I love this episode.
Okay,
It's so-
Snagglepuss.
What do you want from me, okay? I don't have a plethora of voices. I'm not Frank Welker. What do you want?
No. It's just the way it came out. It's like you said. I just immediately went to Snagglepuss from.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Hanna-Barbera.
kind of going for that, but with the
Exit
calculus
stage
twist.
left. I can't actually do the Snagglepuss voice.
I'm sorry to distract.
We'll give him a second.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he is turning purple.
I've had those moments. I get it.
Snagglepuss. That's what got me with Snagglepuss. I don't know why. Oh my gosh, Three Vader. Oh my gosh.
Let me know when you're ready to come back.
You're welcome, patrons.
Oh, okay. I can come back.
Oh, shit.
No, not you, calculus.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get that workout.
Whew. Whew. Rough. Woosa. Yes. Come back. Again, I love this episode. It's a great introduction to an amazing series that has touched the hearts of so many young people like we were when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's impacted so many lives that it's a milestone in history that probably won't be broke. Maybe. I don't know. So we shall see. But yeah, Batman the Animated Series. Episode 1. Technically, episode 1.
As far as I'm concerned, it's
production wise.
Because we could not have done this in broadcast order. You'll find out later when we get to the actual first broadcast episode.
Yes.
But
yes.
My thoughts on this. So growing up, I primarily my connection to Batman for before this show was Batman the movie, the old Adam West film.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite films. I'm not saying it's the best Batman film out there. I'm just saying it's a favorite nostalgic watch for me.
You just can't get rid of a good bomb.
True. Very, very true.
I mean, I love the science that you can dehydrate a person to sand and then just add water and bring them back. It's amazing. I had no idea. I learned things when I watched Batman the movie.
I just want to know where all that equipment holding the test tubes went when the people when the Security Council rehydrated. Where did those go?
You don't.
That should have hurt. That should have hurt bad. Question I've had since before this show came out, because I made that connection. Anyway, so while that movie was my first connection to Batman up to that point, I didn't actually get to watch the two Michael Keaton films when they first came out. I think the original one, Batman, I would have been too young. Let's be honest, because that was what, 87, I think.
Yes,
89.
89.
Yeah, 89.
I would have been too young for that film at the time, and my mom was not a big Tim Burton fan, and never has been. So those, and I remember her saying that it was too dark for me to watch at the time. And so the sequel I didn't watch either, because Batman Returns, for the same reason at the time. So I went from Batman the movie as my only idea of who Batman is, maybe catching a couple episode reruns of Batman 66 when I happened to catch it on television, to this show.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, back in 92. And of course, when I first saw this, I fell in love with the show. It's a great classic show. So I'm going to be honest, every time I watch a Batman film after this show came out, I have compared it to this show.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I'm sorry, Snyder fans,
Nolan fans,
Burton
Burton fans,
and Tim Burton fans. You know what? Even classic 66 fans. Y'all's Batman don't hold a candle to Kevin Conroy.
Agreed. He is legend.
He is the best Batman. And when we've got this new DC Universe thing coming up, I honestly want it to be more like the Bruce Timm animated universe than anything we've gotten up and besides this.
That'd be nice.
I want something in that vein.
I can respect that, but Terry McGinnis is a better Batman because he's teamed up with the original Batman, and they play off each other so well.
I agree with you.
I mean,
there.
spoiler alert.
It's
more
just a continuation
more of that.
of-
More agreeing with Francisco. More, please.
No, I'm not going to completely agree with you.
Spoiler, we've reviewed the film twice now.
Yes.
But at least Terry McGinnis is the only one who actually killed the Joker where he stayed dead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Another reason to like him better.
McGinnis is
A
a good
scarier
Batman.
Joker than the one in this one, which is saying something.
And also to quote Batman Beyond, it's like the fact that I think Bruce says at one point, be like, yes, I've trained you, but I haven't told you everything I know.
But if we're talking about Bruce Wayne Batman,
Mm-hmm.
this is my guy. This
Okay.
is the guy I want
Fine.
every actor to base their performance on.
Yeah.
Fine. I will concede that.
And also,
So-
anytime, be like, for me, anyways, be like, I either read a comic or something like Batman's in it. It's Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah, it's Kevin Conroy's voice when I read it. It's Mark Hamill when I see the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. These are my characters. These are who when you say Batman, when you say Joker, when you say Riddler, these are the characters I'm thinking of. They're not a version from any of the newer films.
Oh, yeah.
Not even the stuff from the 66 films, which are, let's face it, if it weren't for Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, we wouldn't know who the Riddler is today, because he's the one who really put that character on the map. But talking about this episode in particular, I do love how, like y'all said, that this is like the full gambit of who Batman's supposed to be. You get to see him as a detective. You get to see him kicking some tail as Batman. You even get to see him use his secret identity as Bruce Wayne in to help solve the case. You get to use in this episode he uses every aspect of his character minus head of Wayne Enterprises, because he doesn't use any of his Wayne Enterprises stuff. Now, I think he says he's going to donate some money from the Wayne Foundation to the zoo, but that's like the closest you get to that. This is like, if you're going to, I don't know if this was the actual pilot episode for the series, or if this was made after the pilot and we have an unaired pilot we've never gotten to see. But if this is the pilot, it makes perfect sense, because you see every aspect of who Batman's supposed to be, what a typical adventure would be, and it is spot on what this show is supposed to be. And while I do think, I know there are better episodes than this, I do appreciate using a villain that, like, is not one of the A tier villains, one of the B tiers, not a character that most people know who it is unless you have been reading the comics incessantly. And it makes sense. You're actually kind of doing an evil Batman in a way, reverse Batman. It fits. You don't have to worry about, does anybody know who this is? Are they going to have an adverse reaction if we don't do something exactly right? It works perfectly. So yeah, I did enjoy watching this episode, and I am looking forward to watching more of these episodes.
Agreed. So. I do want to say, like, kind of leading out of this episode, the animation is spot on, especially when we have all the flying sequences where it's Batman attached to Man-Bat.
Yeah,
and like
those are really good.
It's going around the blimp.
Yeah,
like I was like, that is spectacular. The closest I can think of, be like, it's going back to like classic, World War II fighter, air combat, and it's just like brilliant, because you're going in and out of that back bin, that back stabilizer. It's just like, it's just beautiful how it's animated and everything. I'm like, this is top notch animation, people.
Though, can I say that as well funded as the Gotham City Police Department appears to be, they are crap in this.
Well, yeah. Be like,
they are I know in nowadays many police departments do seem to be small militaries, but this seems to be like this seems like we're there already in this.
In a way. Definitely when Bullock is in charge.
Yeah.
It's like, and plus Bullock is kind of a dunce in a lot of ways.
He's the bulk of this film.
Yeah, he is definitely the bulk of this story.
Bulk and Skull.
Yes. And also this episode reminds me of probably one of the best Batman movies of all time.
Oh.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Probably one of the best animated. But like, it's probably second to me, because Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is probably best. The best Batman movie
Now
ever.
we can agree. Yes.
Okay,
But Mask of the Phantasm is still good.
it's still amazing.
How do I mute you guys on your own show? How do I do
Sorry,
that?
That's not gonna happen, Roy.
My name ain't Roy.
But yeah, just like animation wise, it's beautiful. That flying scene is spectacular. I'm rewatching it. Oh my gosh. It's like, I've watched this episode a few times, throughout the years, and I was just jaw dropped, be like, if I had big dog ears, they'd be on the ground. Or like straight up, like, oh my gosh. But yeah.
And I do think that the Art Deco style in this was done so much better than I think even the Tim Burton films did it. So
I do, because Drew did bring up something about his history of Batman. So for me, there was a lot, because I remember like for me, my dad was like, oh my gosh, Batman 89. Oh yeah, we're watching that. So watching that as a kid, and then you're getting this series, Batman Returns, and then throughout, and then my parents all of a sudden in the mid 90s, they're like, oh, we got this Batman movie, and it's just the Batman. Like, what in the world is this? Okay, it's a new Batman movie. And then it's like in the 60s. I'm like, what the crap is this? I'd never seen Batman 66 before. That was my first introduction. I'm like, what in the world is this? This isn't Batman. It's all colorful and funny. It's like, oh yeah, no wonder. It's Batman and Robin.
I can understand that if you're going from 90s era Batman backwards.
Yeah.
I still say that Batman 66 is probably the most accurate adaptation to a Batman comic at its time.
Okay, fair.
And I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I like, now as an adult, I do appreciate it. But as like a young boy, like watching, I'm like, see that. What in the world? Like, Batman doesn't go and he goes bam and shut up.
Bear in mind, I watched both of these around the same time, so that's
fair.
Batman's both of these things for me.
Fair.
So.
That is fair. Anyways, I just thought I wanted to bring that up.
Ironically, it's the two Tim Burton films that feels the least Batman-ish to me. But I understand that is one of the two most popular, especially for people our age. So
exactly.
So don't complain about it.
So it has that like reverse effect, because you came in with Batman the movie, and I came in with Batman 89. So we kind of just cross over each other in that way.
I literally came in with a copy of Batman the movie that was recorded off of the Family Channel, not Fox Family, not ABC Family, the Family Channel that had commercials for we recorded it off of that, so it had commercials all the way through it. So the fact that that it doesn't switch to a parquet commercial or a commercial for the next episode of The Adventures of Zorro, it's just weird to me when I watch that film now. Because I do still have memories of those exact sequences.
Of course.
Because I devoured that tape back in the day. So, you ready to move on to the next episode?
Yes.
Not quite. I want to gush about one more thing about this episode.
Go ahead.
When Batman is trapped in Phoenix Labs and Bullock has all the task force come down, just how he is able to get out of it and eventually uses them using the tear gas grenade that explodes everything to launch him and another guy out and one of the other police that he saves. I thought it was a great way to get both escape, show his heroism, have a huge explosion that you wouldn't otherwise get, and for a good reason. I just really appreciated that level of visual storytelling and thematic storytelling.
I agree.
Good. Now let's get on this other episode that wasn't nearly as good. What? I'm not wrong. I'm never wrong.
Oh, sure.
Episode 2.
Yes.
Christmas with the Joker. Like I said, this is episode 2 in production order. Episode 38 in broadcast order.
Okay.
Whoa.
Admittedly, when you look this up, the reason it's that late is because it's like at the end of the first set of episodes for the show. Yeah, and it's the closest to Christmas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they did play this episode for Christmas every year on Fox Kids and Kids WB and Cartoon Network.
Yes.
And pretty much any other network this show ever appeared on. But yeah, this first aired November 13th of 1992. It was directed by Eddie Gordeski and written by Sean Catherine Derrick and Paul Dini. Cast introduced in this episode: Mark Hamill as the Joker, Lauren Lester as Robin, and Mari Devon as Summer Gleason. Summary for this episode. On Christmas Eve, the Joker kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, Harvey Bullock, and Summer Gleason, and then challenges Batman and Robin to find him before midnight. Trivia for this. Bruce Timm said of this episode, "I like the fact that Fox always runs it on Christmas every year. It's really different than a typical sappy Christmas episode on other series. It's bitter, it's dark, bitter, and weird."
Yes, indeed.
Mark Hamill has admitted this is his favorite episode of his favorite episode of his own as the Joker. According to Bruce Timm, broadcast standards and practices refused to approve the original script. It started out as a much nastier, really funny script written by friends of Paul Dini, Eric Radomski. When Joker says, "I didn't have a family of my own, so I decided to steal one," it ends up being a regular family he's stolen, making it more intense and scary. Tim Curry had originally voiced Joker in this episode, as well as a couple other episodes, but a producer at the studio was not a fan of Curry's version, so casting director Andrea Romano had to recast. Mark Hamill, who got the part, had to match the lip flaps of the existing animation, which is the reverse of how voice acting in American cartoons is usually done. The Joker nearly falls into a giant vat of liquid at the end until Batman saves him, a reference to the comics and other interpretations of the character in which he was created by falling into a vat of chemicals. As he watches Batman evade the blast from a cannon, Joker makes a reference to Hallmark's old slogan, "When you cared enough to send the very best," with "When you care enough to send the very blast." About 2/3 of the way through the show, Joker tells the Gothamites who are watching that his Christmas special will return after a word from our sponsor. Both the fictional program and the episode itself then cut to a commercial break in our own world. Unfortunately, watching this on home video ruins the joke. Because we don't have commercials.
Yeah, but I got it. I knew what they were doing.
The Christmas tree from A Charlie Brown Christmas can be seen in the background when Joker rides up on his sleigh. The taxidermied horse that pulls the Joker's sleigh in his private TV broadcast has a single trimmed tree branch tied to its forehead with string to pass it off as a reindeer, a reference to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And this is the only episode where the Joker doesn't wear his trademark purple suit. Instead, he wears a red sweater with a green turtleneck, like you would wear at Christmas time. So, too bad it's not an ugly Christmas sweater.
True.
And this is probably the first time I had, in watching anything on television, where I actually heard the Jingle Bells Batman Smells song on television.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is the first time the Batman stuff ever referenced it, but I like to think it is. So I get the feeling Francisco is going to be a bit of a Scrooge with this episode.
How dare you? I call him as I sees him, okay?
What are your thoughts on this episode, Francisco?
What a letdown after Man Bat, or On Leather Wings, excuse me, to this episode. I mean, Mark Hamill does a great Joker. I think the okay, so the part that gets me at the start is somehow he's able to smuggle in enough to create a rocket Christmas tree in the middle of Arkham Asylum, and then he has all these gadgets in place the same night to just be ready to go, from dynamite on a bridge to a bunch of robot jokers that shoot guns to a cannon on the observatory to taking over a broadcast. I mean, like, how does he have all this in place the night of? It makes no sense. And then I don't understand how he then captures 3 characters, 2 of them cops, maybe one. I could see getting one maybe. But then it's just there's so much logic I had to throw out the window for this episode that I just am done. And then why is Robin all of a sudden here, but he wasn't? I know that's like a broadcast order thing, but in terms of like watching this in sequence, it's like, wait, where was Robin in Man-Bat? Why is he here all of a sudden? It's very strange. So there's
Dick Grayson had homework to take care of last episode.
Right. Okay. Tell me.
Yeah, and also you could plan it that Joker has his plans well in advance. This
is nothing really that new for the Joker to be able to do things for his criminal empire while in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, he is insane, but also he's a mastermind of everything, so he probably has all these grand plans and schemes planned out months in advance.
Then give me something showing that. There's nothing except for those two goons that help him with the bridge. Everything else, it seems like he did himself. So it takes me out. I can see Lex Luthor doing that. I can't see the Joker doing that. I think the Joker is a menace of himself. Mm-hmm. He's not this mastermind from everything. I mean, and this I think goes to what we were saying before with Man-Bat. Probably a great introductory episode because no one brings anything to that character. Mm-hmm. With this, though, I'm bringing a host of other experiences and sort of grand nemesises for the main superheroes that I'm aware of, and what I should expect from them. And I am just like really thrown for a loop with what if Joker has these capabilities, Batman should be dead real quick. So I don't know what's going on. Now you can tell me, Francisco, you're right. We agree with you. Episode over. Fantastic time. Glad everyone had such a good time here. And we'll be back for another Batman series and we're going to be covering The Legend of Kuragawa or something like that in 5 frames per second speed. So the Cellcast. Jacob, where can people find you?
To quote Adam Savage, I'm going to reject your reality and insert my own.
It's not quite the meaning of the original quote, but sure.
It's fair enough.
We can't find you online. All right. Drew, where can people find you online?
Jacob, why don't you tell me your thoughts on this episode?
Wait, no, we finished, guys. We're done. I don't know what.
We didn't.
I think Francisco is somehow hijacked our show and somehow is trying to dictate where we're going.
Somehow like the Joker was able to mastermind all this stuff. Yeah, see how it doesn't really work? Exactly.
Yeah, but we're not cutting anywhere.
Exactly.
So I have a fan theory that could help you. No, hang on. Let me back up. Not a fan theory. This is my version of Francisco's
fan theory. Thanks for watching.
No, this is my version of Francisco's fabulous fan fiction. It's fabulous.
All right. I'll bite.
Harley Quinn, who is not introduced in this episode yet, was not even created when this episode was made.
Yeah.
We do know this. But who's to say in this universe she hadn't already been turned by the Joker, but nobody knows she is yet. So she is still able to act as his liaison with his mob, with his crew out there, and between everything, they are the ones who got all this set up while the Joker was in jail, because the Joker wanted to leave when it made the most sense for him to do this. Actually, it honestly makes sense within this grand scheme to hit when Batman least expect, not when Batman least expected, but it makes sense that he shouldn't give Batman time to prepare for anything the Joker does. So Joker being in Arkham Asylum makes sense that, Joker can't do anything except Joker's already turned one of the Arkham Asylum doctors to help him with all this stuff, and maybe she's acting as a liaison, like I said, to his crew, and that's how they got all this set up.
You know what? I think that is a fantastic theory. I think I gotta say that's actually really well put, Drew, and I could totally see that happening. Too bad that's not the case, but I A for effort.
Such with most of your fan theories.
What? No, mine are great. What are you talking about?
No, I get it.
Actually,
Francisco.
much like mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep talking over you now, Drew. Much like mine would make the story or the movie better, I agree. Yours would have made this much better, much more palatable for one Francisco Ruiz.
Unfortunately, Harley Quinn didn't exist at all yet.
She didn't,
Yeah.
So we can't really actually play that card.
Yes. But
I do agree with you, Francisco. It does lead... If you really must know how Joker all set us up, that is a bit of a plot hole. I can tell you, in the mix of this episode, I didn't care.
Oh, all right. That's fair.
Because, and Jacob, I'll let you give your like in a minute. Or your thoughts in a minute. I'm going to jump ahead. I posted the night I watched this, which happened to also be the night I was on Francisco's podcast most recently. While for others, Christmas doesn't begin until they see Hans Gruber fall from Nakatomi Plaza. My Christmas doesn't begin until I see the Joker escape from Arkham Asylum. There. Because the minute this starts up, I'm like, this is Christmas. This is a Christmassy as Christmas episode as it gets. If you're going to have a Batman Christmas episode, the only way you get Christmassier is if the monster is some evil, demented Santa Claus. And to my knowledge, that's never been done in a Batman story. But this it has the feel of a Christmas special that when Joker takes that over, you get all the little bits in there, the call outs to all the other Christmas specials. You do get Batman actually having to figure out where everything is. And you get a fight to, what is the name of that song? Carol, is that Carol of the Bells or is that Sleigh Ride?
I think it's Carol of the Bells.
Carol of the Bells. You get fights to regular Christmas music in such a way that I don't think Die Hard does as well. I don't really consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, but I don't fight people who say it is. But to me, this is I love the reference to, while it is admittedly not actually a Christmas film, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
It's I enjoy the references to it, and how that actually is actually a film Batman should relate to, if we're being honest. But to me, this is just the Christmassiest, I don't even know the right word, Batman episode you could pull off, and it is fun. And you get the introduction of Mark Hamill's Joker. I'm sorry, he is the best Joker. I am still amazed that is Mark Hamill. That is Luke freaking Skywalker.
I didn't realize that
as the Joker. And it's just
Prince of Crime.
Oh my word! He's like, I'm curious. I am so curious if they have the Tim Curry version on, like where you could watch it, because I'm curious how his version of this episode is. But I also think this is going to have to be the better version, because Mark Hamill's performance as the Joker is iconic.
Yeah.
That, honestly, as much as I love Cesar Romero's performance, as much as I like Jack Nicholson's performance, as much as I like Heath Ledger's performance, and that's about where that stops, I don't think he got a better Joker than Mark Hamill. I'm sorry. He is my Joker. No one else does it. He's got that perfect mix of Jack Nicholson and Cesar Romero. It is perfect. He is creepy, but he doesn't feel like... He's creepy enough you wouldn't want to be in the same room with him.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not creeped out at him watching him like I am with some of these others.
Gotcha.
It is... I'm sorry, he is just my Joker. I enjoy watching him. I even enjoy him in the Batman Arkham games, where he is a lot creepier. But Mark Hamill's voice is perfect for this character.
Yep.
And yeah, this is just one of my favorite episodes. This is one of those memorable episodes from this time period for me, of any television show. So of all the episodes, this is like one of like 15 I was looking forward to seeing again.
Oh, cool.
I hadn't seen in years. And so, yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes of television, period.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I will admit, I am biased.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah. Jacob, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Again, like Drew, it's a classic episode. You have the introduction of the Joker played by the fantastic Mark Hamill. Like, for me personally, be like, I didn't know that was the Joker for years.
I didn't know it until like 2010.
Yeah, something like that. Someone mentioned, like, what?
when the
No
Arkham
way.
games were coming out. That's how I learned it was Mark
Yeah.
Hamill.
Yeah, because I think I saw like a behind the scenes thing. It's like, that's Luke Skywalker. There's no way on earth that's the same two guys. It's like, oh, it is. Oh my word. Favorite Joker.
And then
Now.
you look up how much of a voice actor Mark Hamill actually
yeah,
is.
like
and how,
profound.
and how half the time you can't hear his voice in his roles.
No, but it's just like you have this perfect episode. Again, it's obviously later in the series, but because the animation style does change slightly, like
Yeah.
very, very slightly, because you have this progression of animation, how they perfect it. But
Well,
definitely,
and the change when they expanded from Batman the Animated Series to starting to do the rest of the DCAU,
right,
and they changed the animation style for Batman to match what they were doing with Superman.
right. But that would come later. But with this episode in particular, you do get the introduction of the Joker and his insane ideas of what he does. I do agree a little bit with Francisco here, a little bit.
A lot of it. I'm hearing you. You agree with me 100%. Good.
You're
That's
putting
as you should.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Well, that's
No,
just
I don't think
Francisco
so.
in
I think I'm
general.
hearing the right words.
Do I hear anything? Were you like just an echo? Is a bouncing echo off the wall? Someone
Yes, one that says Francisco's right. Yes,
all
that's what we're hearing.
I keep hearing is this.
Wow.
But yeah, this is a classic episode. The fact that they bring in It's a Wonderful Life, which is a wonderful movie.
Mhm.
Like it is Christmas Eve. I do agree it is Christmas Eve. It's one of those films will be like I've watched since a kid. I didn't have a respect for the film as a kid as I do as an adult. Be like as an adult, I have a enormous respect for this film, and I do enjoy the film, especially when you go watching in theaters with your girlfriend, now wife. Which is really good to go watch it in the theaters if you ever get the chance. It's really good. But the fact that like it's not Tim Drake. This is
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson. Yeah, this is Dick trying to convince, because apparently Batman is like be like I nothing cheerful, is it? And I'm like okay, Bats.
I never could watch the film. Never even got past the title.
Yeah, be like it's too cheery. It's a wonderful life.
It makes sense considering Batman's past, how he would not think that it's actually a wonderful life.
But according to one of the best films of the Batman lore, Max of the Phantasm, he actually was happy at one point. But due to his vow, he couldn't do that. So he knows happiness. So be like he's just being a grump, he's being a stump. That's just like be like, it's a wonderful life. Why in the world would life be wonderful? It's like Bruce, quit being a grump. Watch the movie. I understand you want to fight crime. I understand you want to protect Gotham at all costs, but watch the movie. Come on.
What you don't understand is Mask of the Phantasm is non-canonical. So that's just a fever dream that he was ever happy. He never really was happy. So, and It's a Wonderful Life. I've never seen it, but I know it's not a very good movie. So go watch a Christmas Carol, Scrooged, something like that. I think that's better.
Insulting one of the best Jimmy Stewart films of all time. That is downright evil, man.
First off,
obviously you haven't seen American Tail 5 Goes West.
I have.
We have.
It's one
well, then that's that's the best Jim Stewart movie.
No. Oh my God, no.
As much as I like 5 Goes West, it's not the best Jimmy Stewart film.
No, absolutely not.
Well, it's the only one I've seen. So what do you want from me?
Like who shot Liberty Valance?
Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is a film I need to force Francisco to watch next time I come back up on his patron pick.
There we go.
Or whatever it's called on your show.
Yes.
No, yeah, I get that.
Rewinder Retribution or something. I don't know. I can't come up with whatever the term is.
Oh my gosh.
I've just never I think that's cool that they worked in It's a Wonderful Life into this, like an actual movie into the mythos of this. I kind of think it would have been cooler if it's like, hey, let's watch this movie called Superman the Movie. I think it's good. Let's it is actual you actually see clips from that.
First off, that wouldn't have worked in the canon of the show because Superman is going to exist.
You know what? They have Joker just doing whatever. Who cares? Who cares anymore?
Clark Kent right now is hanging out in Smallville, pretending to be a human boy.
Fine. Okay. Fine. Have him watch Spider-Man. Okay. Whatever.
Actually, considering, no, because X-Men was 93, wasn't it?
Yes, X-Men was 93.
Couldn't have done X-Men, even though it's the same network.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
that was
know.
a can of worms to say that.
Have
Well,
him
I
watch.
think the main reason Fox kids had access to Batman the Animated Series was because they still had the television broadcast rights to the character of Batman that they had since 1966.
Ah, gotcha.
And I think in some theories they still do.
That's why when you see a new Batman show, it's not on broadcast unless it's on Fox. It's on other channels.
Mm-hmm. Or if you do live action, you really never see Batman himself. You see silhouettes, you see Bruce Wayne, but you never see the Batman.
But you might see somebody hanging out with Batwoman.
Yes.
And claiming to be Bruce Wayne.
Don't get me started on that one. Ugh.
Actually, I didn't watch that show. I just remember what you complained about.
Oh, I watched one episode. It took me 3 days to watch that piece of crap.
Wow.
It was terrible.
I guarantee you my viewing of Star Trek Discovery was more painful. Anyway.
I guarantee you my viewing of Batman Mask of the Phantasm was the worst.
Oh, shots fired.
I think Francisco needs an injection of holly juice or something.
Or at least
bah humbug.
He needs an intercession of be like his taste buds, his theatrical taste buds needs a palate cleanser because apparently they've been tainted by something grotesque.
My theatrical taste buds are just fine, okay?
Are you sure?
Actually, I think I might know what it is. I think it is a immune reaction to his immediate hatred of a certain film involving the search for the Holy Grail.
How dare you bring up that right now? I will walk off this podcast.
Well, that's good because we're near the end of it. We're just waiting, and all that's left is to announce our next 2 episodes that we're going to be reviewing. Plus, you telling us where we can find you, even though we kind of already did that.
Yes.
What
episodes are we doing?
That's what I'm trying to bring up.
Are you guys just going to do Lower Decks afterward or something?
Yeah,
or?
we're doing that afterwards.
Okay. I don't mind pretending. I can have calculus on. Hey guys, I watched Lower Decks. It was moving.
Calculus.
Yes.
Hush.
Moving right along.
Our next 2 episodes of Batman the Animated Series that we're reviewing next week with the Tale of Princess Kaguya are Nothing to Fear, which is a Scarecrow episode from the look of things, and another Joker episode, The Last Laugh. So join us next week for that. Francisco, tell us about the Retro Rewind podcast and anything else you might have going on.
Yeah, so the Retro Rewind podcast is a podcast. I imagine you figured that out by now because you're smart. Where me and my friend Paul and rotating guest hosts review movies and games that are 15 years or older. Recently, we just recorded an episode with Drew on National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We have several other Christmas episodes like Mickey's Christmas Carol, Muppet Christmas Carol. I think those are all the Christmas carols. But How the Grinch Stole Christmas. If you're in the Christmas spirit, you can see we have over, as you see, you can listen to over like 200 plus episodes. It's our numbers go up to 300, but we have some episodes that are missing. So there's a story element to that. Yeah, exactly. Darn Jared. But yeah, so if you're looking for a podcast to listen to, retroreonpodcast.com. But make sure you listen to all of the Cellcast before you listen to that, because these guys are awesome. In addition to that, not podcast related, I'm currently designing a board game called Junkyard Juggernauts, which is a strategy adventure game where you're playing the role of these Magineers, these characters that are have had to be exiled from their kingdom because a warlord has attacked, and they have to put together these fantasy robots to go and free the cities that the warlord has enslaved. So working on that and hoping to kickstart that in 2025. But that is something I'm in prayer about. So pray with me too.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. And as
Oh, that's at junkyardjuggernauts.com. I should have said
Right.
that.
so, join us again next week. And in the meantime, this has been Drew. This is Jiggin.
This is Francisco, the right one.
That was Roy. And we'll catch you in the next frame.
My name ain't Roy.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
You know, I know it's not Christmas technically yet, but I am feeling a song coming on. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel and Joker got away. Okay, that's the end of the episode.
Wow. We ended on such a high note, and then had to bring it down to the gutter.
Thank
But
you.
it's such a fun gutter. Thank
This
you
show-
again.
This show
yeah,
is
thank you
that
guys.
gutter.
Oh god, you're not kidding.
Uh,
So many tangents, so many wonderful, glorious tangents. Not even funny.
Thank you once again for joining us, Francisco,
Of course. Thank you
and
guys
putting
for
up
having
with
me.
our hilarity and poking at you.
You guys put up with me. I think you're the heroes here, not I. But thank you for that.
Let me see if I can find somebody for the Twitch people to stream.
Wait, aren't you gonna just continue on and do lower decks? And
We
do
are,
this
but we
separate.
don't stream this part because it's
oh,
because
patron
extra
stuff.
tasks normally would be for patrons first.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Even though we're kind of releasing the stuff for free since we did the other four seasons for free.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
Kind of weird.
Yeah. So I'm going to find someone for the Twitch people to go raid.
Thank you, everyone who is hanging out, watching. B. Greer, Ashley, anyone else that was in chat.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming in and rating us from PaulGPowers.com.
Mhm.
Yes. Thank you for that raid, Paul.
Yeah, was,
Ashley, I'm probably going to Book of Gaming. That's what I'm going to do. Even though he's
Oh, is the chat still going for you guys? I guess it stopped for me. I don't see it anymore.
Stream Elements is my last thing.
Oh.
And now Beaker. So the rating should be going any minute now. So if you want to do a stream face, do it now.
And the narrating book.
All right.